Oh, well,
Hey,
Sarah Beranek.
Oh,
Wow.
Hey, oh my gosh, it's good to see
this
everybody.
is wonderful.
Good to see
Morgan,
you.
you're the best.
So grateful.
This is such a good idea, Morgan.
Thank you. David
Too
is
bad
the
it's not your real birthday.
okay. Wow. How dare I celebrate at a time where it's convenient for people to get here? Oh, good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning.
I know you invited a lot more people, right? So, and we're early.
Yeah, but I'm pumped. Guys, we're all over the place. Sarah's in Chile right now.
Yeah, this is
Cool.
True. I'm making empanadas as we speak. So sorry for the back and forth.
Could you send some over, please?
Yeah, I know, right? I cried for like an hour before this cutting onions. If you can't see like my eyes, they're just like red. But here we go.
Was it worth the sacrifice?
No, I don't even like onions.
Guys, I told David to go with Caesar Flickerman vibes from Hunger Games, and he totally killed it.
You did it.
Molly, what's your friend and companion's name there? This
Violet.
furry animal. Violet?
Yeah, she's like in all of my Zoom meetings with work.
That's amazing.
I know she gets a lot of attention because she always has to be on my lap.
Nice.
David, can you remind people to turn their video on? There's a bunch of lurkers here.
Everyone can hear you, Morgan.
Well, you're the
Everyone, you should turn your video on.
How am I supposed to lurk?
Tyler.
Tyler, your beard.
Yeah.
This is it. This is it trimmed up. This was much longer a couple days ago.
Is
That
that
makes
real?
sense.
This is my Corona beard, man.
That's got to be fake.
I love that. Corona beard.
Wow. Hi, Johnny. I will.
Hey, happy birthday.
There's like 80% college friends so far, in case people want to place people. That is where you're seeing people.
Johnny, good to see you. We got a choral group coming as well.
Okay, good.
Choral group.
Yes,
How many people were invited?
many.
This is crazy.
Oh, kind of
Only
using
30 once, okay? That's what people told me.
That's true.
Amanda Gray.
Oh my gosh.
That was incredible.
Hi, Claire.
Happy birthday, Morgan.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hi, Emily.
Hello, happy
We have
birthday.
work contingent. Claire, guys, Claire is me probably the longest of anyone on the call so far. She's ballet.
Treating my story
Wow.
as the fuzziest. It's like, what happened 20 years ago? Something fun.
Hi, Elena.
Happy
Kelly
birthday.
Stride's
Morgan.
joining us.
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you. Is that Ruben?
Yeah.
Aw. Kristen, hi, Brinley. Guys, Kelly's here. Hi,
Yeah, I
Kelly.
see Kelly Stride trying to jump in, but she's still muted.
Hi, Kara.
Seriously.
Kara is current work.
Happy birthday.
Eric, hi.
Hey.
Come on.
Happy birthday. How you doing?
Nice to see you.
Wow. I'm writing down everybody's names as they come in, and it's just
You
like
hear this
constant
stuff?
writing.
Yeah, hi, Alyssa.
David, does your view show all the names underneath their window?
Yes, but people move around, so I wanted to write them down.
Gotcha.
in case
David,
that
you're
happens.
champ for
Such a
doing
considerate host.
Oh, it went on to 2 pages.
Oh no.
Crazy.
Too many friends, Morgan.
Just you wait. My sister is here. Say hi to Mackenzie.
Hi, Mackenzie.
Hey, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie.
Invisible
Hey.
Mackenzie.
Oh, hi, Claire.
It's been a minute. Everybody.
The invisible voice.
Oh, it's so nice to see Ruben. He's so big.
So big.
All right.
Hey, William. What's up?
Good.
So fun to see. Hi, Mason. Andy is here.
Hi, love.
Oh my God.
Ruben.
That is so cute.
Oh man, he looks so much like
Someone came
both of you.
to
Like his father.
baby ask.
Ashley.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks everyone who woke up early.
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
You're welcome, Morgan. It was a real sacrifice.
I appreciate the sacrifice.
We have so many other places to be, Morgan.
We have people in Chile, in London, in India.
Wow.
Where else,
Wow.
everybody?
I
Olivia.
was out late at the club last
Olivia?
night, so this is actually really tough for me.
Hey, Kristen and Josh, congratulations. I haven't seen you guys since then.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Nice to see you guys.
Wow, you got to keep flipping back and forth. How many people are on this? A lot. 26.
All right.
Only Morgan Lee. Myself, I love it.
There's still a couple people trickling in, so we're just gonna hang out for
Crystal.
another minute or two.
I just trickled in. I just want to say happy birthday, Morgan. This makes me very happy.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does. It makes me love life. You know, just like what your email always encourages me to do.
Oh, thanks, Tyler.
Oh, you're welcome, Morgan.
I hope that I know that if you had a party, it would be the same.
Oh, thank you. I mean, honestly, I could only hope that it would be the same. It's like an aspirational thing for me.
There's a lot of other people talking, so maybe they don't hear.
Oh, Olivia's here.
Hi, Morgan. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. Hi.
Here. Guys, Olivia's from high school. I'm trying to think who.
Hi, Olivia. Oh, look at it. You got quite a crowd here. Hi. Oh my God. So many people.
Alyssa Honeycutt, do you have kids?
What?
Small children.
Yep. They're saying
Hi,
happy
Kevin.
birthday, Morgan, very softly. Go ahead, Nick. You can say it now. Come on.
Hi, Nick. Hi, Nina.
Morgan,
Hi, how are you, Ms. Honeycutt?
we're doing great. Happy birthday, Morgan.
Thank you.
All right. Mute time.
All right.
All right. So there might still be more people coming, but we can just let them in. Oh, here comes Donique.
Say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Morgan.
Thank you. It's hard to actually figure out where all the voices are coming from.
I know it is. You have to keep going back and forth and looking for this rectangle.
All right.
You could do speaker view. Here comes one.
David,
Hold on.
Mackenzie asked a very critical question that a few of us heard the answer to, but I think is really important for you to just address head on.
Yes. Oh, in the chat.
It's in the chat.
Well, I'm wearing just a normal sweatshirt. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
All right. Cool.
Happy birthday.
Kevin, why is your video not on, by the way? All right.
There it is. Look at the toilet paper.
Because I'm a Zoom noob, but I figured it out. I also, when I joined, I couldn't hear anybody because I had my volume down. Oops. Happy birthday, Morgan.
Party club only Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Awesome. What do you think, Morgan? You ready?
Yes. How about this? I'll introduce you and then we can get going. Okay.
Go for it.
Guys, it is making my day to see so many people here and to see so many people enjoying each other. I'm sure some of you guys are already catching up in the comment section, at least I hope. Thank you so much for opening up your laptops or turning on your computers or turning on your phones and coming to join me today from my living room, which is where I am. It's great to be here. Today we have an MC for the party. This is my friend David. I met David famously the first day of college when I met a number of people who are on here, and David and I had a very memorable adventure of walking around campus in the dark, which is just something that you do normally when you're a college student and walk around campus in the dark. But that's what we did because I had to figure out where I was taking a Spanish placement test the next day. And we were pretty inseparable the first semester, and then he decided he needed to move on from our friendship. Anyway, David has been a great friend, and I thought we needed an MC for this party. And when we went through our rehearsal last night, I told him to channel Caesar Flickerman, if anyone has seen Hunger Games. So that is that's the vibe that you're getting. That is the vibe that was intended. So take it away, David, and tell people what's happening.
All right, everybody. I have a whole page of notes, so listen up. So because it's so many people and it's a Zoom call and it's hard to just have a normal conversation, everyone is going to get the opportunity to talk. And a lot of people, probably if you read Morgan's email, then you brought a story to share and maybe even a picture. So we're going to go around. If you have a formal story, awesome. If you don't, you can just share, say happy birthday, show off your family, whatever you want to do. But whatever it is, you have 90 seconds to tell your story. And we're going to go in the order that everybody joined the call. So I wrote down everybody as I let them in. And I'm going to tell you who's up and who's on deck as we go. Please be aware of sounds since there are many people. Mute yourself if you need to, like a lot of people have already been doing. And I'll mute you if I have to, but I don't want to do that. When you're up, start by sharing your name, where you are, and how you met Morgan. And if you have a picture, be ready to share it. So you can share it by what Kevin is doing. You can make it your background, or you can share your screen, or if you have a picture on your phone or like in your, like an actual physical photo, you can just hold it up to your camera. Oh, there's still people coming in. Okay. 1 second. Okay. And then sometime during the call, if you can text Morgan the photo that you're going to share, if you have a photo, she wants to see all of those through texts. And okay, so if you read Morgan's email from yesterday, we asked everybody to bring some sort of like a noisemaker. So this is what I have. And here's how that's going to work. If you hear something in someone else's story that is classic Morgan, then we want to celebrate and make noise. So for example, if there's a moment where Morgan made somebody do something stupid, but it worked out, or Morgan thought she could get away with something and she did, or Morgan was not invincible after all, anything that you can easily picture or have experienced with Morgan, you can share in that person's story by making noise or by sending a message in the chat, whatever you feel at the moment, okay? Does that sound good? All right, cool. Or yeah, or even thumbs up works too, cool. Okay, so about halfway through, we're gonna have an intermission where we take a group photo, and at the end, we're gonna sing happy birthday. If you need to leave early, send it in the chat or just say it when we have a free moment, and you can, I can move you up the list if you have to leave. Just let me know, okay? All right, also we are raising money, and I'm gonna give that over to Morgan so she can explain what that means.
Hi everyone. So there's one of my favorite organizations in Chicago is called My Block, My Hood, My City. And I first became acquainted with them because they would essentially take people that lived in Chicago on tours of places that they hadn't been in Chicago. Part of their idea is that people often stay really close to the neighborhoods that they're already in and don't get out enough and feel a larger sense of like camaraderie in the city. And so they would have different like tours that you could go on in different neighborhoods. And I thought that was like such a cool idea to get people connected with different parts of the city. They have lots of really innovative things that they do, which I really love though. And for instance, they have this huge like Christmas light decorating campaign that they do every single year that I've helped decorate with. I work for like a block club, and they helped make like block club signs for everyone last year. And they helped with my neighbor's garden. They sent a bunch of volunteers out. And right now they're doing a lot of work with like making sure that seniors are getting checked in with. during the pandemic. So I thought it would be really great to raise money for them. I put the information in Venmo, but I put the Venmo information in my email, but it would be also great if you wanted to donate. I'll put my Venmo information in the chat if you feel inclined to, as well as a link to the organization. And yeah, if you feel like so inclined, that'd be great. You can just mark that information when you send it to me, designating it to that, and then I'll let everyone know how much money that we've raised tomorrow. So that's it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go first. And then Sarah Baranek, you're up next because you were the first person here. So be ready to go. All right. So
David, really quickly, a lot of people are still muted. So I think you're going to tell people that they can be unmuted, right? If they would like to be.
Yes. Yeah. I appreciate that so many people are muting. That's awesome. But if you want to pipe in or especially when it's your turn, unmute. Yeah. And everybody has the power to unmute themselves. That shouldn't be a problem. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to share this. Okay. So everybody, first of all, I was looking through old pictures, and on my computer, I only have pictures from my iPhones over the years, but my friendship with Morgan goes way before that. And so I've actually deactivated my Facebook a while ago, and so I reactivated it just for this, so I could go back and find old pictures. And I found a couple. First up are the honorable mentions that I don't even remember happening. So, like, I don't know why we were dressed like this.
Oh, I totally remember that one, David.
What is it?
It was some kind of 80s dance party at Messiah. That's clearly at college.
Yeah, that was okay.
and you guys really did it, and I totally did not.
Well, it was too good not to put here. And then this one, I don't even know where this is, but Morgan's hair.
It's in Gettysburg.
Is it in Gettysburg?
Yeah, I went through my Facebook pictures and I saw that too.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is the one I actually picked. So, okay, the quick version of the story. Morgan uploaded this picture to Facebook on May 11th, 2009. And it was in an album called We Would Be Models. And so this is me and Morgan and our friends Stephanie and Kevin. And I think we spent over 30 minutes taking these pictures in a dorm room on Whitmer 4A. And this was taken on like a really ancient laptop that I had with just a bunch of default photo filters. And there's a couple things I want to point out here. One, you can clearly see the mouse in my hand where I'm clicking to take the picture. Also, this is like, I guess we were trying to do some sort of like cool like album cover or model shot. I'm not sure what Kevin's doing over here. That's his best imitation of like what a model looks like, I think. You can see that. And then Morgan is just clearly showing off her legs or something.
My calves in particular.
Yes. So, yeah, that is one of the oldest pictures I have. One of the beginning moments of our friendship before I apparently just like dropped off. But it was good times, and we just kind of found lots of crazy random things to do at Messiah with no way of getting off campus. So there's that. So Sarah, you are up, and then Guillermo, you are on deck.
I was not expecting to go first to second to first. Not as funny or engaging as David is. I met Morgan at college. I don't exactly remember when, which I was trying to figure out. Morgan, did we get stuck on like a really long drive somewhere?
Yep, we were driving back from Philadelphia. We picked you up and we talked on the way back.
I knew it was like a time where Morgan was like stuck in a car. All of my other general interactions with Morgan have been limited between Morgan doing like 1,000 things and doing 1,000 other. And so I appreciate that from Morgan. But Danique, who's also on the call, frequently bothers me and Morgan that we are very similar, which is not true. at all. But about a year ago, Morgan texted me like a day before and said, oh, I'm going to be in your city. I used to live in Philly. And I picked Morgan up at the airport, and she was wearing the exact same thing that I was. Completely unplanned. I sent a picture to the group. But what I love and appreciate about Morgan is she's spontaneous. Morgan, you're the only person who I know who would get this many people together and plan such an incredible party for yourself. And I'm so proud of you for doing that, because I think it's amazing. I think you're amazing. And pretty sure my 90 seconds are up, but I don't know if my picture sent to the group.
You saw it.
It's sent to the group. I was supposed to send after I told the story, but I'm not good at tech. Love you.
Great.
How do we see the photos? I didn't see it.
Okay, yeah. So Sarah sent it as a picture in the chat. That's one way to do it. Then everyone has to click it if you want to view it. You can also share your screen, or if you have it on your phone or something, you can hold it up to your camera. Okay, so there it is. Perfect.
Completely unplanned.
Wow, that outfit, that's crazy. Very cool, very cool. All right, so Guillermo's up next, and then Kara Bettis is going to be after that.
Hey everyone, I'm Guillermo. My nickname is Billy. People call me that in college. I met Morgan on day one of college, just like David did, in that big group of nerds who became friends for years and years to go. And happy birthday, Morgan. So grateful to have your friendship for all these years and for you to celebrate almost 30 years old in a couple days. And I have silly pictures from when we were in college, but I was going to share some relatively serious ones. I may throw in the funny ones at the end. I'm going to share screen and switch over to, I've never done this before. Open system preferences. Oh no. This is supposed to be easy. Okay. Why is it making me do that? Does anyone else have a Mac and have this problem?
Are you trying to share your screen?
Yeah.
Yes, I've had this problem before too.
It says I need to quit Zoom and then come back. Is that
right?
Yeah, it's really annoying.
Okay, so then why don't we just let the next person go? I'll come back and be able to do it in a minute. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Kara, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let me try and share my screen and see if I can. La. All right. So, hi everyone, I'm Kara. I live in Boston. Morgan and I have known each other for several years, but recently became better friends / coworkers when I started working at CT about 8 months ago, last summer. So Morgan, as you guys know, is just a very outgoing, kind person who will take you under her wing. So every time I fly out to the office, she shows me around Chicago and we have lots of fun. But my favorite memory is pretty recently. We flew out to Colorado to go skiing. So the 3 classic Morgan things that now I know are classic Morgan after spending a weekend together are: 1, our coworker who had just been hired, had invited Morgan to spend time at his cabin outside of in Vail, very large, nice cabin. And she had tickets for both of us booked within weeks of meeting him. So that was the first classic Morgan thing. The second was we stayed there, and I was booking ski tickets and lift tickets as someone who's a relatively intermediate skier. And I was talking to Morgan about skiing, and come to find out, this will be, I think it was the 3rd time you'd ever been skiing, and you went to Vail. So that was pretty great. So that was also classic. And then The third thing, which I consider myself to be pretty friendly and outgoing, but Morgan is definitely like next level. And so we made so many friends during that trip, learned so many interesting things about all the people we rode the lifts with, and all of that. But real quick before I end my 90 seconds, probably the best story was we had driven all the way back to the airport, and driven all the way back to the airport, 2.5 hours from the resort. And Morgan realizes she doesn't have her wallet with her, including her ID. So I would have been freaking out, but she's cool as a cucumber and just charms her way through TSA and made it all the way back home and had the ski rental place where she had left her wallet mail her wallet back home. I assume you got it. I actually never found that out. But that was pretty impressive. So that's my story.
I made my flight. That is actually a really good memory because that was the last trip that I have gone on, and that was like the beginning of March, not that long ago. Yeah, back when life used to be like that. Anyway.
That was awesome. Billy, are you back?
I think it's going to work now. I reset everything, so I should be able to share a screen.
Let's try it.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
Who's up after Billy, David?
After Billy's going to be Molly.
Okay, so if I switch to photos, can you see this now? My big Photos app? Okay, great. So, how Photos in iMac does the people sorting? So I have all these pictures sorted by Morgan's face showing up in them. There's lots of old ones of us from college that you can see kind of here. I'm going to shrink this. Graduation. The problem is that it always shows people's names in front of their faces, ruining the photo a little bit, but there's Morgan right there next to me, staring off in the distance. But the story is our wedding too. She was there for stuff, Kelly and my wedding. But the photo I wanted to share was when she visited from last summer, June of 2019. She came to visit us here in Savannah, Georgia. Here's her cuddling with my dog against the dog's will.
Who's you?
Just animal mistreatment. It's classic Morgan. Here's a funny story. Morgan insisted that we walk through Savannah. Savannah's a very walkable city, and it's not normally a big deal to do that. But she said, we have to walk through Savannah. We have to see everything. We have to do all the stuff that the city has to offer, even though it's pouring rain today. And so we ended up walking through much of Savannah and intermittently getting stopped by just a complete torrential downpour in June here in the South. And this is us stopping at a cafe's tiny little covered spot on chairs and taking photos. You can see how wet the ground is behind her. You can't quite see the rain, but it's just moments away. And then the last thing we did that trip was see my wife Kelly play roller derby. So this is at the end of the game. Kelly is still in her gear. Morgan hanging out. Interestingly enough, her aunt and uncle came by that weekend too. So there's a weird picture where Morgan's in with the Kelly side of the family, which is super, super funny.
I think we should also mention that I've also lived with your grandparents too.
You have. There's a great picture of you with my grandma from my wedding. This one, who just died last month. So one of the favorites I have is memories with her.
Send a picture to me. I want that.
Yeah, I'll share all these with you, just in a regular text message.
Great. I have a lot of them, but I want the one of Zoraida.
Sure. Okay, I think I'm going to stop sharing and cede my time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Billy.
Andy started an amazing thread, by the way. I'm laughing, especially because I just went on a run in the rain.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, Molly is up next, and then after that is going to be Andy Rader. I'm guessing that's how you say it.
All right. Hi, guys. Sorry, I'm having trouble with sharing my screen. So that's a bummer. But essentially, so I have these two pictures. One is from, I think, a freshman year, spring dance or whatever. And that's our classic picture together. And we look so young and so sweet and innocent. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say I'm Molly. I'm in Seattle. and I know Morgan from college. Yeah, and then the second picture of us is in our college cafeteria, Lottie Nelson. And once I figure out how to share it, I will. But yeah, I was trying to think of like a specific story with Morgan that is just funny and weird and classic. And I couldn't think of one particular one because there are so many instances that it's just like, it doesn't stand out in my memory. Yeah, but I guess what I would say is that a few years ago, Morgan and our friend Diana came out to visit me, and Diana is a friend from college. I wasn't really, we were more acquaintances, but over that trip, like, you know, Morgan was like, it's okay, it'll be fine. You guys will get together. Like, you guys will just get along really well. And then, so they came, and it's true, which, you know, is classic Morgan, where she makes connections and then you're like good friends with somebody. Yeah, and so we did a lot of things. One included, you know, Morgan was just like, go, go, go the entire time, of course, and like wore me out. I needed to rest. And there was one time where we went downtown and Morgan was like, I want to go to a rooftop bar. I want to go to a rooftop bar. And like, I didn't know any rooftop bar to go to. And so we finally found one, took an elevator up, and went up there and just like hung out, and quickly realized that all the drinks were like way too expensive and we were not willing to pay that much for a drink. So we just like hung out there for a while, did not drink anything, and then we left. So yeah, but anyway, so it was a really good time. I was very happy to have Morgan. So yeah, very classic.
It was the perfect trip. I loved that trip. The weather was the whole time.
It was really fun. Yeah.
We went on bike rides. We spent the entire time outside. We went on a great
Can I expound on that story just a little bit with another classic Morgan moment?
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
So I also live in Seattle and I'm a college friend of Morgan's. And so Morgan and Diana come out to stay with Molly. I also am acquaintances with Diana, but don't really know her too well. And Morgan says, oh, I'm coming out to visit Molly. Why don't we meet up with you for dinner? And I'm like, sounds great. Come over to my apartment. I go to open the door and oh my gosh, here's Diana too. Like, Morgan never let on in this whole time that we were talking that she's traveling with somebody else and that somebody else will be coming to dinner, which is fine. It was great. And it makes me sound super type A and whatever, but I just appreciated Morgan, like, having somebody else along that she just never even mentioned.
Well, I thought you were going to mention the best part, which is
which I can say if you want.
Yes, do it.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
not Morgan's story though.
No.
Oh, Morgan, you can
Go
tell
ahead.
it if you want.
I was just going to say that we did plank stacking afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
I will find that picture and share it in a minute.
Yes, so we did plank stacking,
work
which
on that.
essentially is like when you're like in like a plank on the floor and you like with multiple people, you essentially like hold on to the other person's ankles and your feet are on the person's shoulder. So you're like this essentially. And it was me, Diana, Andy, and Morgan, and we tried to do it, and we like were successful for like, of course, like 3 seconds, and then we fell like hard. We fell really hard.
And again, y'all don't know Diana that well.
Exactly. Yeah, it was funny. Anyways,
That's awesome.
good times.
Was John taking that photo? Like, how did this happen?
Yes, he was taking that photo.
Love it. All right, we're going to keep going. So Andy R is up next, followed by Neil.
Hey guys, I'm Andy. So I met Morgan when I was working at Christianity Today, and we had annually every summer we had an editorial resident come in, and I had been really good friend. Was it more than a summer? Is it a year program? I don't remember, but I had a really good friend in that position, and she left and moved to Colorado. And then Morgan was our next resident, and she reached out to me because she wanted to live in Chicago and commute to the suburbs where CT is officed. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a unique challenge. Let's definitely talk. And then I ended up inviting her right when she got to town was my birthday. So she came to my birthday party. So this is a picture of that. I think this was 2015.
So cool. It's my first day in Chicago.
That's your first day in Chicago. And this is the first time we met each other in person.
Wow.
Back when phones didn't take the best pictures yet. But my memory that I want to share today is from one of my last days at Christianity Today. So Morgan and I got to be colleagues for a couple years, and we shared an office wall, and we worked on the same team. And so we would IM all day and just like take care of each other and proof each other's emails and like help each other survive insanity sometimes. And it was just such an amazing work-wife relationship for me, and I definitely miss it. But one of the things we also got to do was commute together. So we would take the metro train together. And Morgan is like such a badass. I don't know where she gets all of her energy, but she would be up, I don't know, 6:45. She lived right by the train station, still does, and be on the train platform with her bike and her clothes for the day and her food for the day and ready to go before the train came at 7, never missed it. Meanwhile, I was like trying to ride my bike to the train, and I was always a mess and like could never be on time and missed the train and ended up driving half the time. But on my last week, we decided to bike out to the office one day, which is about 25 miles. So we did that in the morning and took the prairie path, which is really beautiful. And Morgan, of course, kicked my ass in terms of athletic performance because she could have been like way faster than me. But I thought it was a fun day and a fun experience. And like I bought a little speaker and we jammed music and brought snacks. And of course, we ended up taking the train back home that evening because we were really tired and sore. But that's one of my favorite memories. And then I just brought a couple more pictures. So this was from, I think this might have been the last time we hung out in person. It was about a year ago at the Wing in Chicago. And this is some other CT colleagues, and we all like to go out for tiki sometimes. So that's a favorite picture as well. So Morgan, I'm just like, love how singular you are and like you have your own way of being in the world and you invite people into it. It's really special.
I dispute your characterization of me being together. I definitely am not put together. You are the one that is always put together.
You're on time?
Great.
Affiliate.
Not me. I just barely make it by the skin of my teeth. So thank you for that generous characterization. Also, it's false. Andy is perfect in this way.
Oh, love you, Morgan.
Awesome. All right, we're going to keep going. So Neil is up, followed by Kristen Roach.
Hey guys, how you doing? Happy birthday, Morgan.
Guys, hi. What's up, Neil and Katie?
Not too much. We're sharing another meal with you, Morgan, as we have many and many more. But we know Morgan from Chicago. Met her through a run club here in Chicago. Many adventures, many runs, couple trips, and I don't think there's any other Chicago people here. Is Ashley here?
Ashley's here.
Ashley's here. Okay, I was going to share about the cabin, but I will anyways. About Morgan lighting her hair on fire while playing card games.
And you can share that story, and then also please share the bike ride story. Sorry to be dictatorial.
Oh yeah, the bike ride story. So Morgan and I both like to bike a lot, and it was like a random spring day or summer day, and we decided that we wanted to go for a bike ride to some random place in the city. And it was threatening some thunderstorms, but we thought, hey, why not? And we get in maybe 5 or 10 minutes into the bike ride, and it just absolutely starts pouring. So we continue our bike ride, keep good spirits. I think I got a flat tire somewhere in the middle of nowhere in the south side of Chicago. So we tried to fix it with a patch kit. that I can't remember if I had it or Morgan had it, but we struggled with that for a while. And this is in like the middle of it seemed like it was abandoned. There was no one there. A BMX park in Marsh Park, which is middle of nowhere, south side of Chicago.
We only got there because we accidentally almost went on the freeway.
That too. Almost went on the freeway, almost got hit by cars. That's plural, cars. Yeah, but we ended up getting it fixed and then had some pancakes, I think, before biking back. Yeah, good times. Good times. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Katie. I met Morgan on my second date with Neil. And she just immediately had a very open and curious personality and asked me just like non-stereotypical questions that you know, people normally ask the same kind of questions. And I could just tell that she had a very curious and a different kind of personality, which I really appreciated. Fast forward, we've been dating now for a little over a year and a half and living together, but I've gotten to know Morgan better because they have such a really awesome friend group that I would say that at times, like, there's various leaders in it and keeping it cohesive when you have all these different friend groups. And she's just a spunky character who has invited us to learning so much about her life and all of her different friend groups. Did you share a picture?
I didn't share a picture. I did have one from another trip in Montreal.
Yay!
Yeah, I'll send it to the group. But the handful of people that Katie mentioned that get together for dinner, we visited a friend, or I guess we all decided that we were going to go to the closest French-speaking place and ended up in Montreal, and just spent a great weekend there, getting into all kinds of mischief. We're all well-dressed in this picture, but shortly after this, we all decided to hike up a mountain. The park in the middle of Montreal, I can't remember the name of it, but one of the many adventures. Yeah.
My picture is a Polaroid we keep on our refrigerator because it was such a special memory that has, where did I hold it? This was on Neil's birthday last year, and Ashley is in it, and so is Morgan and myself and Neil. I may also say that that Neil is very much like Morgan. They are kind of, they're themselves but different. And so for Neil's birthday, he wanted to bike 100 miles to Milwaukee, and I took the train halfway there because I wasn't committed like that. But then Morgan and Ashley were so sweet and kind and just ready to celebrate his birthday the way he wanted to celebrate it, and met us there as well with clean clothes for us and a lot of good vibes. And it was a really fun birthday.
Yeah. Sorry we went over the 90 seconds.
There's two of us.
There's two of us. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. All right, we're going to keep going. Kristen Roach is up, and then Keith is next.
Kristen Roach is gone.
Kristen's gone?
Gone, man. Sorry.
Shoot. Who's even saying that?
Jake.
Oh, Jake is. Okay. All right, Kristen's gone. So, Keith, are you ready? Is Keith still here?
I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Who's up next?
Okay, so I'm from Harpers Ferry, West Virginia right now. So we have really terrible satellite internet, so it's pretty spotty. My first memory of Morgan, I think, exemplifies who she is. I first hired her as a work study in the Agape Center my first year working there. And what I'd heard from some of her references was that she's a great, excellent student, tends to get in over her head. She tends to commit to too many things. And I remember in the interview, I think you were in China at that point. I was interviewing you from China on the phone. And I asked you about how do you balance, all of the different things you get. And you're like, it's fine. I'm going to Spain after this. I know how to handle a lot of stuff. And I was really worried because I think you were my first student work study that I hired.
Oh, it was 10 years ago, Keith. I'm remembering that interview now.
Yeah. Yeah, you were in China, and it was the most bizarre work study experience I think I've had, and I think you set the bar pretty high because you came in and you wanted to know a little bit about the job, but most of the time you just wanted to have really in-depth conversations about anything in life. But there are always these really deep, fascinating topics. And I remember that was one of my favorite memories is painting the Agape Center bright green with you and just talking about the world and the state of the world. And I feel like I learned more from you than you clearly did from me. But your energy, especially as an old guy now, your energy and tenacity, just hearing what you're doing, like your yearly updates from Morgan, it exhausts me just to hear what you're doing. I don't even know what it is. It's so much. And it's amazing. And I love it. I feel like you're living like 15 people's lives by all you're able to cram in there. It's amazing. So, yeah, I'll end with that. I'll send a picture when I figure out how of you and me walking on the Anacostia, and you got devoured by mosquitoes. You get really bumpy real quick. So they loved you. But yeah. Love you, Morgan. Happy birthday.
Coming, Keith.
Awesome. All right.
My favorite boss, everyone.
Tyler Anderson is up, and then William is next.
All right. My name is TA, or Tyler Anderson. I met Morgan at Messiah, and I live in Camp Hill, which is in the vicinity of that. I met her probably towards the end of freshman year. I met her through Jake, who I will assume will be speaking soon. I knew him from high school, and he kind of brought me into the fold with a lot of the people at Messiah, so I'm appreciative of that. My story for Morgan involves Hostage, which was a game that we used to play at Messiah. We would drop people off in the middle of nowhere, since most of us didn't know the area, and then your teammates had to drive and figure out where you were using whatever means necessary. And there was one time where Morgan was driving, which was terrifying because you're blindfolded in the back of the car. And when she's driving and she's flying down back roads and you're blindfolded, it is absolutely terrifying.
You need to do more people, I think.
Anyhow, she ended up practically, because I grew up in Dillsburg, which is like 10 minutes away, she practically drove me to my house, and I like knew where she was going blindfolded because she was like driving the direct road back to my house. She dropped me off like 30 seconds from my house. It was pretty fantastic because she was getting so frustrated that I knew exactly where we were. And I guess I'm going to end with TA on 3.
DA.
Yay. So, yeah.
Love it. That's awesome.
That's not even the best story, though, Tyler.
There was a lot.
No, you weren't in the car. Guys, I also wrecked my car playing Hostage, too.
Yes.
That is the real.
I wanted.
Let me continue Morgan's story, though. She was driving to a development that was currently under, like, construction, and she goes all the way to the back where all the stuff was, and like, oh, there's a field out here. I'll just drive out in the field in her tiny little sedan. She ran over a giant concrete block. We felt it just like destroy the bottom of the car. So, and then we got out and she drove off. So,
no, David, tell them the
Yes.
part you said.
Yes, that's what happened. And I think it was Jake and Victoria were in the back.
Yep.
But apparently, I forgot this part, but
Yes.
David told me that we had to like affix part of my car using our college lanyards because it was falling off.
Yes. When we got back out onto the road, it was clear that pieces of the car were dragging on the road. And so the only thing we had with us that we could use was our keychains with our college lanyards. So we took off the lanyard and tied up parts of the car so that we could drive back to campus. And we still lost.
But that was Jake's story, Morgan, so I didn't want to take that story. That's why I didn't share that one.
Oh, okay.
I told Molly he couldn't steal that story when we talked earlier.
Jake and I have other adventures, I'm sure.
All right, William, are you ready to share?
Can you hear me?
Yes, and then Jonathan is going to be next.
Morgan, happy happy early birthday.
Great to see
So I know Morgan through the Choral Fellows program, and I see Eric. What's up, Eric? And Johnny, even though we weren't in the same year, you're choral for life. So good to see you. Let me share my photo. Files. Sorry, give me 1 second. Anyway, I'll do it later, or I'll do it in the chat. But basically, Morgan, you came to New York City from Chicago. I think it was related to something related to the UN.
Yes.
A couple years back, and you just wanted to meet up with some of the choral fellows in the city, and so I was like, oh, I can meet up with you, and we basically went to like this kind of like food court area in Midtown, and we had Indian food. We caught up, Morgan's just really great at conversation. One thing that hasn't been mentioned yet is the whole Morgan, you're a big sports fan, and I think we always get into like Yankees versus Giants. Giants, I think, usually are a little bit better than the Yankees, especially now. But I remember you were like, oh, we don't have much time. So then you were like, do you want to continue this conversation on the way to the airport? So I was like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a typical Morgan thing to do, just suggest something like that. So we started heading to the airport on the subway, continuing the conversation. And we also like, we have, so let me share the photo. It's from the airport. Yeah, so it's just basically us at the airport. Wanted to just grab a quick photo of us, before you were heading back to Chicago. So it's kind of just like a pretty spontaneous Morgan-esque trip where she was just in New York City for a few hours, had a quick conversation, then continued it as long as possible all the way to the airport. I think this is LaGuardia too. So it was kind of like annoying to get to because, it's not a direct way to get there, but it was fun. And actually, Morgan, I saw you, we saw each other just before everything went into lockdown, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if you planned it out, but you were literally at my, so I work at Bloomer Philanthropies, and you were at the foundation literally the same week we shut down. And so, I don't know, you planned things out really well, like with timing wise. So that's my story.
Thanks for lunch.
Morgan,
And congratulations on getting into Harvard. Yay!
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I think Morgan, I think you're like a really unique person, and I never met anyone quite like you. And I think, and I say that in all in good way. You're very inquisitive, and you just like make me think of things that I never really thought about, and make me think of things in different ways. So all the best to you, and wish you many more happy birthdays. And I'm even like doing this is crazy, like bringing together like how many people, like 37 people on a virtual like Zoom session. Only you could do that, Morgan. So all the best to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys. Hey, David.
Yeah.
So it's Gwen here. Hello.
Hi.
And also hi, Morgan. I was wondering, I have to leave in a few minutes here, and I just was hoping that maybe I could just sneak in my 90 seconds before I have to go.
Go for it.
Okay.
Can Gwen go, and then David afterward can Nate go?
Yes, and then we'll
Sorry,
take a
guys.
picture.
Thank you. That's very kind. There's so much Morgan love. I wanted a chance to share mine. Hi, Morgan. Happy birthday.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, I love it. I've gotten to see Morgan more times during quarantine than I have in a while, which is amazing. So let's see. Maybe I can share this picture, share content photos. I'm going to try it. Do I hit the check mark? There. Okay.
Nice.
So you guys should see a real cute picture of me and Morgan on one of our adventures. I met Morgan through a trapeze class that I was taking here in Chicago, and we both still live in Chicago, and she is still doing trapeze. I have moved on. I mostly spin fire now. So I'm on the ground spinning fire, and she's in the air spinning tricks. She's so cool. And she's actually the one friend that I have kept that I've like only met through circus. And I'm so grateful. Every time we hang out, we go on some ridiculous adventure. This is a picture of when she showed me yet another spot close to where I live that I had never even discovered. So she's amazing at like showing me places in my own neighborhood. And so there's like this song. I'm usually better at sharing songs than stories. So there's this song that just reminds me of you, Morgan, and I wanted to play it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's called Dreams. Oh, my life is changing every day, every possible way. And oh, my dreams are never quite as it seems, never quite as it seems. I know I felt like this before, now I feel it even more, 'cause it came from you. Then I open up and see the person falling here is me, a different way to be. I want more. Impossible to ignore. Impossible to ignore. They'll come true. Impossible not to do. Impossible not to do. Not to do. Now I tell you openly, you have my heart, so don't hurt me for what I couldn't find. Totally amazing mind, so understanding and so kind. You're everything to me. Oh, my life is changing every day, every possible way. And though my dreams is never quite as it seems, you're a dream to me, a dream to me.
Thank you.
I love you, Morgan. You're a dream to me. You're amazing, totally amazing mind. So understanding, so kind. You're an incredible person, and I could not agree more with what everybody here said. Like, who does this? This is how I feel about you all the time. I'm the person that's, you know, a light usually for people, and they're like, oh, you know, you do so many great things, and that's very sweet, but damn it, you are that person that is that inspirational light for me. Thank you guys for letting me hijack like a few minutes here. You're all wonderful, and I'm very happy you guys know Morgan too. I hope you have a great birthday, Morgan.
Thank you. Thanks, Gwen.
Awesome. So there are a couple more people who need to leave quick, but already I know some people who already went will need to leave. So real quick, I think it would be awesome if we can take a group picture. So if everybody who has a camera and it's not on, if you could turn it on, if possible, that'd be awesome. And then we're just gonna smile or make a crazy face or whatever you want to do. And I'm gonna just go through and screenshot both pages that I see. And then we're gonna keep it, okay? All right, so just do that for like 10 seconds starting now. All right, now I'm doing page 2. Sorry, real quick, one more.
Let's all look at Kevin's face.
Morgan, you blinked.
Whoops.
All right, we're good. Thanks. All right, so Danique, are you still here?
Nope.
She just left a minute ago.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. Okay, hold on. All right, I had to paste the screenshots. Okay, we're good. Then Danique is gone. Someone else told me they need to leave. Melina,
Hi.
go ahead.
Melina,
Can you hear me? Hi, Morgan.
great to have you here.
Happy early birthday. Hi, everyone. I didn't see that many faces I recognize. Hi, Emily. Hi, Ashley, Mackenzie, Mallory. So I'm coming from India. I'm in the south of India in a place called Auroville. It is 10:30 at night right now, and I have a class after this, so I have to go. Sorry, Morgan.
Okay.
I don't have one story, but I think I have a few little anecdotes that probably everyone could resonate with. I feel like Morgan is that friend who's always down for a shared adventure, whether you're ready for it or not. Most of our friends you into one too. So one, gratitude, she's always letting me use her subscription with Divvy to take rides around the city. I think that mission of that block in my city, such a great match. Only Morgan could move to the city you were born and raised in and be so ambitious with her quest to live life to the fullest that she subsequently introduces you to all the parts of your own city that you've never seen. And so that's most of our friendship with her taking me around Chicago. Yeah, so just dance parties, biking all the way down to the Sox Field, US Cellular Park. I put in the chat box, I just want to bring attention to it, that one of the last times I saw Morgan, she forced me to walk from the ceremony of a wedding to the reception of the wedding in the rain. So we arrived
clearly
soaked. But yeah, lots of dancing, summer dance, bars with dancing. We even crashed someone's birthday party in Pilsen once just to get some dancing in. A stranger, someone we didn't know. We just walked into their birthday party. And yeah, she's helped me a lot. I remember I had a really long season of depression, and Morgan was that friend who was always dragging me out to do fun things. And I'll never forget that. Even though I was grumbling for half of that, I loved it. It was amazing. So thank you, Morgan. One of our last memories together is that she joined me in Thailand. This was in December. Morgan is also my memory, thank you. November, and we went and got like a couple Thai massage at a place. So
that was nice.
I love you, Morgan. Hope
Love
you have
you.
an amazing birthday. Thanks. I'll share a picture if I can figure that out. Photos. Here it is. Morgan came and visited me in Los Angeles, and we hiked to This is us, the top.
It's a good picture.
Awesome.
Thanks, Melina. I'm glad you came.
Thank you, Milena.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so I mentioned Jonathan's name a long time ago, but now he's finally up, and then Jake Hack is going to be next after that.
Hey everyone, this is Jonathan. Or
Johnny, I'm so happy to see you.
knows me as Johnny. It's good to see you. Happy birthday.
Oh, it's so good to hear see you in person and alive. Oh, good.
I met Morgan a couple years ago when I was in Chicago. I was a senior in college, and Morgan was the one that suggested that I apply for the Coro Fellowship, which is how I'm connected to Eric and William. And so I did, but that meant that I actually haven't spent a significant amount of time in any place with Morgan. And to make up for that, Morgan and I have really tried to keep in touch over the years by catching up on the phone and getting to know each other better when I visit Chicago or when she comes visit me in New York. I'm currently living in London. She needs to drop by sometime after this pandemic ends, which would not surprise any of us because, as you've all mentioned, Morgan has friends everywhere and she's always traveling to go meet them. And she just brings such an enthusiastic and uplifting spirit. The photo I want to share spent an hour today digging through old photos, and this is one from May of 2018. It's on my phone.
Aww.
And we are at a roller rink. I remember Morgan calls me and she's like, hey, meet me at that roller rink on the south side, the one that Chance the Rapper mentions in his hit Juke Jam. And I was like, what? Like, what's that? So here we are roller skating, and I picked it because it just reminds me of how spontaneous and curious and energetic and unashamed Morgan is to be herself. And that's what we all love and miss about her. So happy birthday, Morgan.
Thanks, Johnny. I completely forgot that memory, so thank you for saying that.
I'll send it to you.
Great memory.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny. All right, Jake, I know you talked a little bit already. Did you have a different story to share?
Well, Casey can share about this one. You need to see this picture, though.
Oh, hold on. Wait.
Turn the phone off.
Yeah, I was driving home from work, so I was like listening to the whole thing, but wasn't actually like.
Hi, Casey.
So, is that picture on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So, our friends David and Kara got married in Jersey, which is really close to Atlantic City, in 2014. So after their wedding, we decided we were gonna go to Atlantic City and hang out on the beach and that sort of thing, which was a great idea. But Morgan was involved, which means it wasn't just as simple as that. There was a guy named Fred who was a guest at the wedding that Morgan befriended. Fred is in this picture. He's the guy on the bottom in the red, but no one knows who Fred actually is. But she got him to hang out with us that entire weekend. Like, he slept over at our friend's house. We went to the beach together. He joined us in this really awesome pyramid and kicked people out of the pyramid that we were actually friends with so that he could be in this picture. So every time we look at this picture, we're like, who is Fred? And we're like, oh yeah, that's the guy that Morgan, like, talked into hanging out with us the whole time. So just a very Morgan thing to do. The picture brings me a lot of joy. So, I mean, it ends up well. I just kind of wonder whatever happened to good old Fred.
Morgan has a way of bringing strangers along. I remember when David Eustace, for some reason, who was a stranger from Chicago, ended up staying at Messiah for weeks.
And we had his jacket for the longest
time. Yeah, we
time.
have his jacket. Who is this guy anyway?
Yeah. You still have his jacket?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That is a great story. Thank you for sharing that.
To be clear, was this whole Fred Morgan thing non-romantic? Because that would also be classic Morgan.
Nobody knows.
I don't know. Only Morgan will know the answer to that. All I know is he is in the pyramid. He is an essential piece to that picture.
But like somehow she did a thing that could get her in some kind of physical danger, but everything was fine.
Yeah. Anyone else would have been murdered or killed or, like, I don't know, had many scars, but Morgan always lives and doesn't end up too hurt out of it. So.
Thank you for bringing back that memory. It's actually a good memory.
No, it's great.
The picture is fantastic for its randomness.
All right, Meredith is up next, and then Amanda.
Meredith, happy birthday.
Hey, Meredith.
I met Morgan 2 years ago in Chicago. Literally, I think it was on your birthday in 2018 when we met. And really? We met at book club through church. And Morgan, like everybody else has said, is completely amazing and awesome. And I admire so many qualities that she has, such as her extroversion and like tireless energy to do anything. And the fact that she knows something about everything and is just an intelligent, informed, genuine person. I could go on, but I'm gonna try to share my screen. Oh God. Okay. I hope this is working. So this is like one of the few pictures we have together from like right before I left Chicago last year. And it was also at a rooftop bar, and I think you can see like a giant building in the background. And then a specific story. So Morgan and I went to the same church, and I feel like most of the time we hung out, it was either running together or like me going to the grocery store with Morgan to pick up food and then make a meal. So there was one time she was hosting dinner at church and she let me help out, and we went to like 3 different grocery stores to find garam masala for a specific recipe, and we couldn't find it at all. And it ended up being fine, and the recipe was great. But when I'm moved away, and now I'm in Virginia, and the first time I went to the grocery store in Virginia, I found the spice blend, and I took a picture of it and sent it to Morgan, and I have it in my phone still, because every time I like scroll through my pictures and see it, I think of Morgan and how amazing she is. So.
Thank you, Meredith.
Happy early birthday. You're amazing and wonderful and so loved. And this was such a great idea. And it's so great to see your face and the faces of people I don't know, but also Shar. Hi, Shar. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
All right, Chris, you can't leave yet. Chris just texted me to tell me he has to leave, but you can just go. Go, Chris.
All right, sorry if I'm cutting anyone off. I'll go ahead and just share a quick story. Last time I saw Morgan in person, we went to an A's game.
How do we know each other?
I've known Morgan since high school.
Junior high.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Mick. Hey, Mallory. Hey, Heather. All our friends from high school. Alyssa. Yeah, so, big part of our friendship has always been sports. And so the last time I saw Morgan in person, we went to an A's Cubs game in Wrigley when I was in Chicago for a work trip. And she's like, every time I go to a Cubs game, I have to buy this lemon slushie. It's like my favorite thing. And the thing is like it's pretty huge. And so we get 2 of them, one for her and one for me. She eats it like in 5 minutes, no joke. And then like, I can't even finish mine. I'm like halfway through. And like, I was like, oh, I can't finish it. And she's like, I'll eat yours too. And then so she finished the rest of mine. And I was just like, wow, you really do love those. But anyway, I think I just have so many memories of Morgan from, talking about sports. I think someone else mentioned her love for sports. And then just like pushing me and like, one thing I always appreciate about Morgan is her book recommendations. Like if I'm like, I love reading books, and if I'm like, hey, I haven't read anything good in a while, I'll text Morgan, and you can count on getting some great recs because she stays pretty up to date with, the fiction, nonfiction, a little bit of everything, books from other cultures. And so I really appreciate that.
We have lots of memories, including one where Heather, who is also on this call, and I planned an all-nighter that Chris came to. And at the beginning of the all-nighter involved a jump house, and Chris broke his neck at the jump house.
13 years ago. Yeah, but I've managed to live to tell about it. But anyway, I've got to go take care of my 2 kids. And so, I want to say happy birthday to Morgan. Thanks, everyone. And have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks. All right. Andy, do you have another story to share?
Do I ever? No,
Awesome.
I want to say, after hearing everybody's stories, the big thing that I love about Morgan is Morgan, you are 100% yourself all the time, any state you live in, any situation. Like, nothing that anybody says has surprised me about who you are, because I have similar experiences. So I am in Seattle. I met Morgan first day of college. We were the girls from California, which somehow bonded us, even though we were from completely different areas. And Morgan and I were college neighbors throughout most of our time there. And we agreed early on that we would make horrible roommates, but great neighbors. So I love you so much, Morgan. I am thinking back through like the 12 birthdays that we've had.
Please share it. You and I celebrate our birthdays together. First year.
Yeah, we're like 4 days apart, and it's funny that like we've been together for a lot of our birthdays, or somehow through Zoom or through state travels have like spent a lot of birthday parties together. Most memorable, I'm going to say, was the first one where we were up at midnight to celebrate a birthday, walking around the darkness of Grantham, Pennsylvania, and then sitting in a car in the parking lot and listening or watching someone who I will not name, like streaking in the window that was backlit in Whitmer. So glad I have that memory to share with you. And I just want to say I love that everywhere that I've lived, you have come to see me. I know that's not a unique story for myself. I'm sure everybody could almost echo that. You're so good at being intentional in your relationships and keeping in touch on phone and making me feel like I'm one of your best friends. Even though I'm sure everybody on here has that same feeling, which I just don't know how you do it. I think all of the qualities that I see in you are ones that I wish I had more of myself.
I love you, Andy.
I love you.
I'm sorry that I haven't seen your house yet, but I'm glad.
Well, you're getting a good view of it from behind me now. This little crazy one's keeping me busy right now. So I'm actually going to jump off after this.
Bye, Ruben.
I love you. And
Can you get John on the phone for just like a second?
Oh my gosh, John.
Can he at least say hi and not be so rude?
Sorry, John is maintaining a fire outside right now.
John,
we're crazy right now. But here's John. We love you.
Happy birthday.
John, say something nice about me. You're polar opposite.
Something nice about you? You teach me how to ask good questions.
Okay.
You inspire me to ask better questions.
Thank you. I'm glad you're in my life, John.
Yes, you are definitely a good influence.
And also a bad influence too, in a number of ways. But this is a love on Morgan moment, so.
That's amazing.
Is Ruben figuring out how to use mayo? Is like that what's happening right now?
This is body wash.
Body wash.
A lot of crazy things have happened in our house in the last hour since we've been somewhat distracted on the phone.
Bye. Thanks.
Love you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you in a couple of days.
Awesome. All right. Claire is up next. Claire, are you ready?
Hello, yes. Hi. Happy birthday, Morgan.
Claire!
I'm Claire, and Morgan and I
Hi,
met
Claire.
when we were 7 and 8 probably, although I have absolutely no memory of meeting you. We danced together and carpooled together for about 10 years. And one of my great regrets is that I've not seen Morgan in person in many years. But I really love hearing all these stories of Morgan's adventures and hearing about them in your Christmas card. And one of the times I felt best about myself was one year we had 2 things that happened to Morgan in her Christmas card had also happened to me that year. I set my hair on fire, not on purpose. And oh yeah, I got upgraded Taylor Swift tickets or something. And I felt like if I had that much overlap with Morgan, I might also be kind of cool because Morgan is extremely cool. So I have a picture, the only picture that I have in my house of me and Morgan. Morgan's face is unfortunately slightly covered. But when I'm allowed to go to my parents' house again, I will find a better picture. This is when we danced together at
My sisters are in this too.
They are, yes. This is when we danced together at the Oakland Ballet. Morgan is in yellow in the second row with a huge smile. This is a really bad picture of me, so I won't point myself out. And yeah, at ballet, we danced together every day, and Morgan, unsurprisingly, was always talking to me during class. It was a combination of very interesting questions and hilarious comments. Of course, we were not allowed to talk during class, and I was very much a rule follower, so I never responded, which I can't believe that this didn't drive you crazy, but I had a reputation to protect. But it really made class 10 times better for me. And this didn't stop on stage either. Morgan would just continue talking to me while we were on stage. And I don't remember all the things you said, but I do have a very clear memory of being some dance like prayer or something, and we had to just stand there in an arabesque for 10 minutes, and it was incredibly painful, and you were right behind me and you just kept saying, "Claire, keep your leg up, higher, higher." And it's really easy to crack me. So I think that kept me smiling and kept me looking slightly better on stage because I was just laughing the entire time. Anyway, yeah, we gotta hang out more. That's all I have.
Please send me this photo. Oh,
Yeah, of course. That's a different one.
No,
No, there we go. I can't unshare. Now Zoom is totally gone. No. Oh, here we go.
I got you. I unshared it for you.
Thank you. Yeah, Zoom totally disappeared for me. All right.
No worries. No worries.
The picture though, I want to see it in IRL. Thank you, Claire. I'm so glad you came on the call.
Oh, this was lots of fun.
We definitely have to keep talking after this.
Yeah, we do.
Thanks, Claire. Okay, so Emily's up next, and then Elena's after that.
Hi, I'm Emily. Happy birthday, Morgan.
Yeah, hi, Tyler.
Hello, this is
I'm
my
Tyler.
husband, Tyler. I met Morgan, so we live in North Carolina now, but I met Morgan when I moved to Chicagoland, and I was the editorial resident at CT for a year. Morgan, as others have said, took me under her wing and dragged me into lots of adventures that I was initially unsure about, but always ended up being a great time. And the story that I want to share is also related to Morgan's love of sports. Let me see if I can share this. Can you see that? So this is the night that the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. Morgan had texted me that morning and was like, wait, there's a chat. Morgan texted me that morning and said, okay, Emily, you can either go about your normal evening routine tonight, or you could come into the city and we could go to this sports bar in Wrigleyville and hopefully watch the Cubs win. And she talked me into it once I got to the office that day. And sure enough, we went and watched the Cubs win with a bunch of screaming Cubs fans, and then joined the parade of people walking to Wrigley Field and got this photo taken as a souvenir. And then we almost died in the stampede of people that were, I was actually scared for my life because
yes,
there were so many people crowding in around us that I was getting knocked down, and there were police there. And, but once we made it out of that, we biked back to Morgan's, also classic, like 1 a.m.
I also got a flat tire on the way home, remember?
Yeah, that's right. And then didn't we stop and ask some police officers if they could help us? And we also drank champagne that someone was like pouring out of their window. That was wild. I'd forgotten about that till just now. But yeah, we made it back, and then we just scrolled through Twitter at your house for about an hour to see what everyone else in the world was saying about.
It's true. We got home at like 4 a.m. and then we went to work at 6.
And then we went to work. So it was a great day. And I don't know if Tyler can top that at all, but.
Oh, I won't top that, but I still feel like Morgan is my friend, so I'm going to share too. I got to know Morgan through Emily. When Emily and I first started dating, Emily was like, you need to come meet Morgan. Also, like, she loves the circus. She just has a lot of hobbies. You're really going to like her. And I remember one of the first times that we hung out for a longer period of time, the two of us, we went to that like weird Korean, Polish fusion place in Bridgeport. Very Bridgeport.
Kimski.
Huh?
Kimski.
Yeah, Kimski. Good memory. Far better than mine. And I just remember like dropping you off at your place in Garfield Park and then talking to Emily, and I was like, oh my gosh, she like out-need me. Like, I've almost never been in that situation, because oftentimes I am just like curious and interested in everyone and in everything. And I remember being at this interview, and I had never met somebody that cared more about what I did for a living and about like technology's impact on adolescent formation. And I was like, this is truly fascinating. And I felt like engaged intellectually, but I also felt like very known and seen and loved as a person too. So that was one of my first and favorite memories of you, Morgan.
We love you.
My favorite wedding is at Emily and Tyler's wedding, and Tyler's dancing at that wedding.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's a sibling dance. So 5 people took the floor to a Daddy Yankee song, I want to say, if I recall correctly.
J Balvin, to be exact. Also, I danced so hard during that I threw up afterwards in the bathroom. So that was a fun part of our wedding.
Whoa. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I didn't try to tell too many people at the wedding when that was happening. But.
That's us.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So Elena is next, and then Alyssa is after that.
Hi, Morgan. Happy birthday.
Elena.
Hi. I'm Elena. Morgan, I'm currently in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and Morgan and I met in college, specifically, I think, at the library when I was working on a final philosophy paper, and Morgan was at the computer next to me, and she was going to Barcelona the next semester, and she told me we were going to be good friends. And then she went to Barcelona and I went abroad. And then still a year later, when we were both back, we were good friends because Morgan said it was going to be so.
Because we were meant to be good friends.
We were meant to be good friends. But that's not my story. That's just how we met. My story is also a sports story of a sort. And it is when I went to visit Morgan when she was living in New York City. I think this was 2015.
No, 2013.
2013? Well, I visited you twice, so we'll see. But I got off the bus and Morgan immediately took me on a hunt for giant apples decorated in baseball team colors and associations. I think covered
in New York, so they had all these giant apples.
Yes. I think we covered over 80 city blocks by foot and 3 boroughs, which is pretty standard, Morgan. And walking really doesn't, that's not really the word for how Morgan moves her feet. As I'm sure all of you know, it's much faster. But so we did that. And then there was a 15-inning Mets game. And we stayed for all of those 15 innings, and I'm pretty sure they lost.
We stayed, it was a 6-hour game.
It was, yep. And
in 2 days, I'm sorry, stealing your thunder. We went to 2 baseball games and Coney Island.
Yes. And I'd rather not talk about the second baseball game because sorry, all you Yankees fans, but they're not my favorite, and it was a bad game. And Coney Island, the next day when I had the worst sunburn of my life, Morgan lent me her Giants World Series t-shirt, which I wore inside out because I'm an Orioles fan. And that's our story. But I want to share the picture because, and let's see, because here we are smiling. You can't really tell, but I have the worst sunburn of my adult life. And it didn't matter because when you're with Morgan, her stamina for life is contagious. And I probably had giant blisters on my feet at that point, and we were probably exhausted from everything we'd done, but it was the best weekend of my summer, and that's just how being with Morgan is. So thank you, Morgan, and happy birthday.
That was so amazing, Elena. Thank you. So Alyssa is up, and then Kelly Strides after that.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Alyssa.
Okay, hello.
Hi, Alyssa.
Okay, here goes. I met Morgan in 3rd grade. This is a picture of us a few, maybe in weeks after we met or something. We've done so much stuff together, and it was really fun childhood. Yep, here we are. Okay, I brought this. This is Mad Libs my son does every day to practice writing. And I was thinking this week, the only favorite memories I have doing Mad Libs are at like your birthday parties when we were little. And I remember you filling in answers, then reading the whole thing, and you were laughing so hard. You were gasping for air. And I was laughing too, and I remember looking around. This was before I knew I was an extrovert and socially sensing other people in the room, and I looked around and there were other girls at this birthday party who were barely laughing or even smiling because we had been doing several Mad Libs in a row, and Morgan was still cracking up so hard, but other people at the party were like, why are we still doing this word game? It's kind of only for one person, but you were enjoying yourself so much, and it was a schedule in the party's agenda that was just, it was so funny. I don't know, maybe Claire remembers this too, but there was just...
I really do. That was hilarious. That was the beginning
Not
of
everybody is into Mad Libs, but I really enjoyed them with you, Morgan, and it's a special memory. But maybe this was just an early thing about how into words and how playing with words and making, words say messages that are important. How much you became about that. Oh, here's a very classic Morgan pose and expression that I just had to share. I don't know when this was. Maybe we're seniors. Here we are again. Here you're playing Bop It. And we were always trying to, sorry if you hear screaming, we were always trying to master coordination games and things. And I remember when you were like, let's practice playing Mario Kart so we can fit in at parties and stuff. And so we would practice playing Nintendo and things like that so we could be more in with other groups.
Can you make the picture bigger, Alyssa?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. But just so everyone can see me, I guess I was like under 10 or under 12 in most of these pictures. I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
I think it's because you shared the file folder instead of the pictures
Really?
that were open.
Okay. Oh my goodness, you're right. Wait, I can't even open this picture, can I?
Maybe if you stop sharing and then share again.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. There we go. I thought I was doing the right one.
That's okay.
Okay, here we go. This is it. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, this is a very classic Morgan pose.
Yep.
And then here's us playing Bop It at someone's house. Good times. And then this one, here's Morgan, brace face, junior high Morgan. And she's about to do a ropes course that I was too terrified to do. Maybe this to me is the epitome, Morgan, of our relationship, me watching you do something I would never do. All right, that's the most of my share.
Please send those to me too.
I will. All right.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Kelly Stride is up, and then Eric is after that. Kelly, are you there?
Hello.
Yes.
I'm here. I'm Kelly. I am coming from Bolivia, La Paz, Bolivia, where I live, of which Morgan played a somewhat significant role in convincing me to move here. And I've been here for 8 years since then. So add that to the classic Morgan list. I remember I met Morgan on our freshman year, first day of college. And let's see, I think it was during our freshman year, we decided to take a trip to Philly with a bunch of people, which is where my parents live. It was at that same time that Morgan's sisters were coming to surprise her in Philly. And so some of us drove to the airport to pick up her sisters and then drove them to my parents' house, of which Morgan was the most surprised I've ever seen her. And there was a lot of screaming and crying and flailing for about an hour until things finally settled down, enough for Morgan to get a grasp on life. But that is just how much one of the things I remember about Morgan is just her love of all things and surprises, and just not forgetting, or just not like, what's the word? Not really hiding anything. Like, this is my reaction, and I'm not gonna let everyone know it.
Well, you can't help it when you're surprised, Kelly. I was very surprised. That is not who I expected to see here in house. Let me just be honest and be clear.
It's true.
I was very shocked.
It was about 45 minutes of screaming and crying. It was quite funny. If not longer, yeah.
Okay, Tyler.
That was Jake. Thank you very much. But I do agree with you.
All right. Well,
I was also a witness, and it was a lot of crying.
Same cynicism.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Kelly. All right, Eric is up, and then Mackenzie.
Okay. It's great to be here with you all. Morgan, yeah, hey. So Morgan, I go back to 2012 when we met in the fellows programs. Good to see some fellow fellows on here. So I live in New York City still. I only sort of forgive Morgan for leaving the greatest city on earth, because Chicago is actually a little bit better. And I'm just glad I get to see her when I come out. So yeah, so we met in the fellows program, and unfortunately my Chromebook will not allow me to actually share this wonderful memory with you all. So I'll skip to the story, and then I'll see if I can find the picture. So in New York, those who are familiar might know about Tudor City, which is it's a very exclusive part of the city. It's a lot of old money, and we're on a Morgan adventure. I think it's fair to say everyone knows what that means. And Morgan just we're exploring the neighborhood. It's very cool. We're both kind of new to New York, but then she's goes her mile and is like, what if we sneak onto the roof deck? I was like, all right, well, there's security guards, there's a doorman in every building. She's like, it's gonna be fine. So she just basically charms her way past the front desk guy. We go up to the top of this huge high rise, and we're just hanging out there for like, I don't know, it's probably like an hour or two. We're just hanging out, and not only has she charmed the front desk, she also just is like hanging out with the oligarchs who like are just in the middle of the day, like hanging out on the roof deck, just convincing them that we also live there. They were 22 years old. Just amazing. Just a classic. Nothing cannot. Everything that you want to happen can happen. So the best I've got is I'm gonna go full boomer on this. So I'll just show everybody this. This is Morgan here on the I'll change that there on the roof deck hanging out. Just classic Morgan. I'm thankful that your spirit has not dimmed at all, and it, in fact, grown the last almost 10 years I've known you. So happy birthday. Really bummed that we can't be doing this in person, and I'll see you next time I'm in the Shy.
Thanks, Eric. Also, that was like the type of roof that had like gargoyles on top of it.
Yes. It was very Gothic, and it was like out of 1850.
And if you like New York City, I just want to recommend this place. It's on 42nd Street, but not in the crazy part of 42nd Street. And it's past Bryant Park, and it's past Grand Central. And then you get to this like extremely quiet place just before you hit the UN, but you can't like drop down to the UN, which I love it because it feels like so tucked away. And that's why I didn't charm anyone, Eric. We just walked past the security guard. That's all we did.
No, you said something to him. You were like, hey. And he was like, cool. Anyway, I do have to drop off now, but this has been great to see all of you and just share in all the feelings. So happy birthday. Hope you enjoy tomorrow.
Later this year, Eric.
All right. Be well, y'all.
Thanks, Eric. All right, Mackenzie's up, and then Mason is on deck.
Wow, shocker. Who knew this thing was going to run overtime? All right. Hey, guys. I'm Mackenzie. I'm Morgan's younger sister, number one. I probably met Morgan in a Kaiser hospital in Hayward, California, but I don't remember exactly when. All the childhood memories kind of blur together as attempts at terrifying me in my house, scaring me, trying to beat me in spelling contests in homeschool, or I don't know, then trying to pretend that you were a bigger fan of baseball than I was when I got us hooked on it. Anyways, I thought I would start out by saying, if you don't have one of these, then you probably haven't made it yet. If you don't have a 5x8 piece of cardstock with size 6 font on it and no actual date, because I was looking at these and I honestly don't really know what year I'm looking at. I wanted to start by reading probably my favorite paragraph from one of these. It's just a lead off. My guess is that this is 2015. My dear friend, let's have an honest conversation about my 2015. Did you feed your inner spiteful spirit animal by regularly browsing the Instagram of a hipster photographer your ex dated? Did you routinely pick scrolling through your Twitter account on Safari over Nobel laureate Gabriel Garcia Marquez? Did you forget to run the rest of your year just days after completing your first half marathon? Did you ride your bike for months with bike lights in your backpack? Did your slider phone just play an amphibious croaking-like jingle to remind you to cancel your free Amazon Prime subscription on an airplane? Did it just go off again? Did you refrigerate 6 gallons of apple cider in your backyard for 6 weeks? Did your $79 bid for 5 games to do computer game lose by 50 cents to a bot? Anyways, good times. Let me share a photo. I only have recent photos. Wait, shit, how do I see my screen? Okay. This was from when I went to Chicago to see Morgan back in 2015, and it was extremely miserable, the cold. I remember I live in Richmond right now, Virginia, which is pretty balmy to say the least. It's not California, but it's definitely not Chicago. And I was looking at the weather the day before I left, and it said it was going to be -15, like upon my arrival. And I haven't experienced a temperature in like the negatives, like ever. So that was kind of terrifying. And then I realized that so I was here for a week, and Morgan's rule of public transportation was that city bike is the only mode of transportation unless the temperature is below 20 degrees, which I thought was like mildly inhospitable, to say the least. But anyways, here we are at Morgan's circus party, and I think there's like 20 of these. If I scroll really fast, we can just go around, and there we are. So anyways, those
are great. I'm glad you have those.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Oh, I also want to say hi to everyone, because there's a lot of people in here that I haven't talked to in a while. Heather, I know Alyssa and Chris left. Jason Barrera, what's up? I don't know if there's any other Moreau people. Oh, Olivia, what's up, Olivia? And Squirt.
You see Krista's here too, Kenzie?
No, I didn't scroll through everyone. Squirt.
I said holla.
Holla. But yeah, that's all I have. Classic Morgan is like, everyone's like classic Morgan, and it's just like, that's who I don't even know how to say it, because every story that y'all are saying, I'm like, yo, I lived with that. It's not just like everyone's like, I got this one story, and I'm like, I got a lifetime. So. All right.
Thanks, Kenzie, for coming on. I love you.
No problem. Stay safe. Quarantine.
That was awesome. Mason is up, followed by Jenna.
All right. What's up, everybody? Mason here. I'm also in Chicago. Hey, what's up, Morgan? I think I'm probably like a mile away from Morgan right now. Maybe a little more, but not that far. So I don't know if I win for like closest actual person to her. Maybe some other people. But anyways, yeah, so I met Morgan I had just moved to Chicago in fall of 2014, and I met her at Cheesy's Pub and Grub, which is where we watched, I think, every single game of the 2014 playoffs when the Giants won the World Series. And that was awesome, and it had like champagne celebration at the end. So I have also probably had champagne poured in my mouth next to Morgan. I know somebody else had a story about that. But anyway, so we like kind of became part of this group of like San Francisco sports fans. And I've kind of been in and out of Chicago since then. But yeah, we've always stayed in touch, and it's always great to see Morgan. And so obviously my story is sports related, but kind of surprisingly, when I was thinking, I think my favorite Morgan sports story is actually Golden State Warriors story.
Oh my
gosh. So I don't know, I think you probably remember this, but this was the 2016 playoffs.
Yes.
And it was game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. This was the series where the Warriors were like down to the Oklahoma City Thunder back when they had Durant and Russell Westbrook, who Morgan knows is my least favorite player of all time, for I don't know what reason. But anyways, huge game. Warriors had to win, and we were in like Wrigleyville area. I think we were walking down Broadway.
At a bougie bar in Wrigleyville.
And we were like we're like, okay, the game's about to start. We got to find a place to watch this game. And the place we ended up at was I don't really know how to describe it, but it had like this faux fancy mahogany like wood bars. I don't know. It was like trying to look fancy, but it was like not really that fancy. Anyways, it was kind of a weird place. There was basically no one there, but we're like, all right, screw it. The game is on. Let's go watch. And if any of y'all are big basketball fans out there, you might remember that game 6 is known to Warriors fans as the Klay Thompson game, because he hit, I just looked this up actually, he hit 11 3-pointers that game. He went absolutely nuts. He kind of saved the Warriors season, and they made it to the finals because he just went off. So there's nobody in this place. It's like really quiet. Clearly, like, nobody cares about the Warriors. It's not really a sports bar. They just happen to have it on. And Klay Thompson just going bananas, hitting all these 3-pointers. And every time he hit a 3-pointer, Morgan, I think what I would describe it as, Morgan let out like a shriek, I think is the best way to describe it. I would try to do the noise, but I have a roommate. I don't want the police to come to my house. So like, it was just, it increased the overall volume of that bar probably like 10 to 20 times. The first few times it happens, I'm like, yo, like, chill, like it's not that loud. And after a while, it's just like, whatever, like, let's just scream and yell. And whereas end up winning, it was a great game, but that was a pretty classic Morgan moment. What else? Great game, great times. It was literally just us, like nobody else cared. They probably didn't even know what we were screaming about.
Nope.
What else? Yeah, another great memory is going to a Giants playoff game at Wrigley Field, even though they lost. But we got standing room tickets. Everybody was like yelling at us for some reason. This is before the Cubs had won, so they were still kind of like angsty and like jealous of us that the Giants were doing really well. So, anyways, but that is definitely, I think that's my favorite Morgan sports story.
Great one.
Oh, and I have the same I don't know why I can't share my screen, but this is us. And let's see, this would have been 2015, and we are in Lincoln Park, Chicago, and we just watched the U.S. Women's national team. God, it was the finals. They won like 8-0, didn't they? It was something crazy like that. It was. Yeah, they won the World Cup, but they won like 8-0 in the final. So, anyways, people were just going nuts again. That was a really fun day. So.
Yeah, pick.
All right, that's what I got.
Awesome. Thanks, Mason.
Sorry, obviously, happy birthday, Morgan. And I'll see you soon, hopefully.
Jenna is up. Olivia is on deck. And then following that will be Kevin.
Hello.
Hey, Jenna.
Hi, I miss you. I met Morgan because we worked together the last 4 years. I recently moved to Southern California. But I worked at the desk next to hers for the last 4 years. And so I have a lot of just like everyday Morgan memories of like, let me see if I can share the screen here. So I have a lot of Morgan memories, like all of my Facebook or all of my Google Photos is just like, you scroll through the last 4 years. It's like, oh, look, there we are. So I'm sure like a lot of you have pictures that look like this from Morgan's backyard. Some pictures of her birthday that look like this. Oh wait, hold on. That's not the right one. I'm ruining the effect. I'm telling my story in the wrong order. This is very convenient. Okay, yes. So I'm sure a lot of you have Morgan birthday pictures that look like this. And I wish that's what we were doing this year because that's really fun. So this is this in digital form. Morgan is one of those people that she can get even like your office staff who are not really improv people to stand up and do improv in a room when they don't really want to. And it went surprisingly well. That's the only person in the world that could have pulled that off. I have a lot of pictures of Morgan that also look like this because we played board games every week for years. And so our friend Andrew would always bring a new board game for us to play. So I have a lot of just everyday memories of us like being together and going through really hard stuff just on a daily basis.
Awesome photo. I want those photos from work. That's cool that you have those.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you all these. Let me make sure I got through all this. Yes, okay. And then, but this is like the number one like adventure memory, not only because we went to the Taylor Swift concert. Okay, so like this is not just like, oh, we did something really cool together as far as went to Taylor Swift concert. It was a day, like an experience. And so we meet up at the train station and like walk from, like we got dinner and had a picnic out. I'm sure you have all done this if you've been to Chicago. Having a picnic out to see the lake at the museum campus. And that was like the highlight. That was so great. That was a great night. And then we walked to the stadium. And when we get there, we think like, it's not very full yet. Like there's still the opening acts were playing. And so we were like, you know what, maybe
like, let's just like sneak into some seats here. And I was like, oh, is it real okay? And she's like, yeah, live your life, you know, just like how we do. So we sneak down to these seats that you can tell are not very far from the stage, and we're definitely not the seats that we paid for, because the seats we paid for were like way up there at the top. And so we're like, let's just like see, and when people come, we can just be like, oh, sorry, man, wrong seats, whatever, like you can have these, you know, like because you paid for them. No one ever came. Like other people filled it around us, and we squished in there with everyone else, but we sat that whole concert there. Okay, so concert is over, and like it's a Taylor concert, so of course this happens. It starts pouring raining, and so they were like, clear the stadium, get out of here. And we're like, oh, we'd kind of rather stay till the rain stops, but they're like, nope, you gotta, like, lightning is coming, so you gotta like clear on out. So we're walking through Chicago in the rain because neither of us has a car downtown, and so we're like, what do we do? Like, do we take the train back? And I was like, yeah, like we just gotta like do it. Like this masses of people are funneling under the bridge and into the city of Chicago, and so Morgan happened to know about a hotel nearby that had free water in their lobby. And so we like just kind of walk in as if it's our hotel that we're staying there. And we're like just grabbing some water, chit chat in the lobby and everything, like hoping nobody notices we're just like locals hanging out. So I have a ton of great Morgan stories, but that probably stands out as the one that was like the easiest to talk about. That would be most entertaining.
It's a great story too.
It's such a good story. I'm so glad we did that. That was so much fun.
Agreed. Thanks for sharing, Jenna. And I like the work photos too.
Yeah, I can also nail it.
That is awesome. I'm a little jealous. So Olivia's up, and then Kevin.
Cool. Hi, Morgan. Happy early birthday.
What's up, Olivia?
This has been really fun to hear all these stories. I think as someone who doesn't get to see you as often, I feel like I vicariously lived through like a bunch of really awesome adventures. And it makes me want to go on more adventures actually with you.
Let's do it.
Let's see. So we met in high school. Obviously, we went to Moreau together. I probably can't pinpoint when or where. I think we had a lot of classes together, so I'm sure it was in one of those classes. And I have a lot of memories from high school. Oh, I'll also share my screen. That, you know, involve a lot of shenanigans from like projects and just like in-class antics. But I think a really nice thing is that we've had a really nice post-high school friendship. Can you see this?
Yes.
I think this picture is from 2016, right before I moved to Washington, D.C. I'm in Washington, D.C. right now. And this is like a similar theme of Morgan letting you borrow a Giants apparel. I think I'm wearing your sweatshirt because this is like really early in the morning.
That's my sweatshirt.
Oh, thanks, Ken.
Got it.
So Morgan, by extension, letting me borrow some Giants apparel. I think this was really early in the morning, and we had just had like I want to say it's like 7:30 a.m. that we met, and we had tamales in the Mission in San Francisco, and that was really nice. But the memory I wanted to share, I think it was in 2013. Yeah, in 2013, I was in New York for spring break to do this like little externship for school. And Morgan, you'll have to like correct me because I can't remember, but I think I had like a dream and you were in it. And at this point, we had kind of fallen out of touch since high school. We had been in touch maybe like a couple times a year. So I didn't even know you were living in New York. So I had this dream and you were in it. And I texted you and I was like, Morgan, I had this crazy dream. You're in it. And you're like, oh, what's up with you? Like, what are you doing in life? I was like, I'm in New York. You're like, I live here. And so like in classic Morgan fashion, she just kind of drops everything. And she's like, well, we need to meet up, obviously. And I was like, I don't know anything about New York. You're like, it's fine. You'll figure it out. Like, we'll meet up tonight or tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, that would be amazing. And so we ended up meeting, I think somewhere on the west side, and I think at that point I'd only lived in California my whole life, and so it was like 30 degrees, which to me was like an unbearable coldness. And so I meet up with Morgan, and I think she's wearing like flats and a skirt, which I like couldn't even fathom. I was like, Morgan, how are you living like this? It's so freezing. You're like, okay, it's not that cold. And then you say, oh, let's go get Italian ice. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm so cold already. You're like, no, it's totally fine. We'll get the shaved ice and I'll be in my skirt and we'll walk around cold New York together. And I was like, that sounds great. But I think that was just like such like a little example of Morgan really always going out of her way to reach out to me. Like this time in San Francisco when we had breakfast tamales, that was another kind of, oh, I'm in your town, like let's meet up. And I think when we were in New York in 2013, I was talking to you about someone I just started dating that was a mutual friend of ours. And I was like, I think I really like him, but I'm not sure. And I remember you being really encouraging about that. And now we're married. Well, me and the guy, not me and Morgan. But so I just always kind of think about the beginning of that relationship in regards to you and how you were kind of like really excited for that and really encouraging.
Where is San? Olivia.
Where is San? San, come here for a second.
Come on. We went to high school together too.
San is here. I had to stop sharing my screen. How do I stop sharing? Stop share. Yeah.
Oh my
birthday.
God.
Happy birthday, Morgan.
God, oh my
Hey, Mackenzie.
God.
How are you?
San
So
Kumar.
yeah, this was
like
that guy that I was like, I
1,000
think I
years.
like him. And Morgan's like, obviously you do. It's easy to tell.
Hey, Jason Barrera. Hey, Jason. How are you?
There's a Murrow reunion.
Murrow reunion.
No, but Morgan, I think, as everyone said here, you've always gone to such great lengths to maintain your friendships. And I love that Mackenzie read your yearly card because I literally live for those. And I always have like such immense kind of like jealousy / FOMO for just like your unbridled enthusiasm for life. But it's really encouraging. And I always tell San, I was like, I'm going to have a really cool story to tell in a card that I someday write to people. But no, it's great. And you've always had this amazing memory. You remember parts of my life better than I do. And so whenever we check in, you're like, oh yeah, you were doing that then. I was like, oh my God, I was. Thank you for reminding me.
Hey, I forgot this story of us meeting up in New York. So I'm just happy that you said that.
Yeah, I just remember I was like so shook by how not cold you were. And then I like could not even believe that you would dare suggest that we get ice cream. But in retrospect, it wasn't that cold. But
oh, thanks guys.
Yeah, happy birthday. It's so nice to hear these stories. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Kevin is up, followed by Providence.
All right. Happy birthday, Morgan. Good to see many friends and people that I know, and people who, I guess, friends of friends as well. So, yeah, hey, everybody. I'm Kevin. Morgan and I met in peer group 42, day one, freshman year of Messiah College. And yeah, there's other peer group 42s in here. Billy wrote us a song in that a while back. That was pretty awesome. I kind of wish he sang that for us again, but that's okay. Anyway, if you guys can see, I guess my background, maybe it's not so good. I'll share my screen.
It's something.
Yeah, let's see. Do this. So this is the picture that was my background, which I thought was pretty fun and captured some of Morgan and my friendship, and Heather's in there too, which is cool. Got to befriend Heather. Heather and I went to Yosemite and hiked Yosemite together, and we only met because of Morgan. So that's kind of cool and kind of crazy. But anyway, so this was in Montauk, New York, celebrating another one of Morgan's birthdays, and we saw this like weird fallen over, bent down tree, which like made an arch around the pathway, and we were like, it's like Narnia. Like we just jumped and hung on it, and it was a lot of fun. So there's that picture. But then I think the one that I really wanted to share, story-wise, let's see, I might have to stop and restart. Story-wise, actually, one more photo and then the story. This photo encapsulates Morgan and my friendship pretty entirely. This was from freshman year, and secretly, I think Morgan just wanted to put her arms around me, so that's why she did it. So,
wow.
No, we bickered a lot. Morgan had an apology issue. She didn't know how to say sorry. I don't know. I think she's learned a lot since then. But yeah, so we bickered a lot and would joke a lot and have a lot of fun together, but then also get mad at each other. So yeah, that's another good photo from us. But then the story, I don't have a picture of. So the story, anybody else who was there can chime in too, because I might forget bits and pieces. But we were picking up someone from the airport. This is in college. I think it might have been one of your sisters, Morgan, or it might have been Heather.
It was Heather.
It was Heather?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were going to pick up Heather from the airport. We crammed 6 people into a 5-person car, and then we were driving there, and then they got delayed, and it was nighttime, and we were like, all right, well, what can we do? So we're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, this like really small city, right? And there's a place there called City Island. We decided, all right, let's go check out City Island. It's like a little park type thing. Drive through, go to City Island, and we see a skunk running across the street as we're entering City Island. And we're like, what the heck? Look at this skunk. This is so weird. We're on an island. How did a skunk get here? Anyway, so we pull in, get out the car, start walking around. It was wintertime. There's like a river right by there. So we're like walking and someone was stepping like kind of really close to the ice, which probably wasn't smart because it's kind of dangerous. It had warmed up and whatever else. Anyway.
She's on the call if you want to out her.
Yeah, Steph's here? Hi, Steph. Yeah, that was you. Anyway, so then we're just kind of talking and chilling, and suddenly like 6 cop cars start pulling up, sirens blaring, like something is going down, and they start pulling up and they surround us and they come rushing out at us. And actually there was this guy with a flashlight too, who was a security guard, I guess. Apparently we're not supposed to be on City Island at nighttime, and I guess the security guy thought that we were doing a drug deal or something, and all like in creating a ruckus somehow. And these cops were some were intense, and then one was making fun of us and making fun of Tyler and the Packers in particular. I think he said he's a Packers fan, so we know he doesn't know it. He doesn't know a brain at all or something like that.
Yeah, right then I knew that he was not good. But
yeah. Yeah, but so anyway, basically we almost got arrested, but we didn't get arrested. And apparently the skunk piece of the story actually comes into play because there is a giant sign at City Island right at the entrance, which says like park hours, like closed at this time. And we didn't see it because we were all staring at the skunk. And we tell that to the police officer. And they're like, there's a skunk on City Island. Like, okay, you guys are definitely on drugs. And so it was just, it was a whole mess, but we managed to talk our way out of it. Morgan was pretty smooth with that as well. And they were only going to give somebody a ticket or something, and it didn't even get mailed. And then we were going to all pile back in the car. And I think, David, you realized, wait a minute, there's 6 of us. And there were still cops around. So we were like, so half of us just started walking across this bridge randomly, and the other half jumped in the car and picked them up at the other side. But so that's one of my Morgan stories.
I love that story.
Yeah, it was
I want to add on to that real quick.
Do it, please.
Because there was a part where Stephanie stood on the ice in the river and fell in.
Yeah.
And then when the cops got there, they were like, "What did you think that ice was going to hold you?" And
That's
Stephanie said, "Well, I threw a rock on it first and it didn't break. So I thought I could stand on it."
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And then they were asking us questions, and they went to Kevin and they said, like, "What's your major?" or something. And Kevin said that he was engineering. And then they were like, "Well, what year are you?" And you said you were freshman. And they said, "Oh, okay. So they haven't taught you that a human's heavier than a rock yet."
That's right.
I love that. That's so good.
I 100% forgot about this story. This is so funny.
Yeah. Crazy times.
I just want to say, you guys were picking me up, and I was already there. I was going to share this story too. It's so good.
Good. I'm sorry, Heather. So good.
The only thing I remember was everyone was kind of joking about it, but then a really angry woman police lady showed up and was like, "We have better things to do. There are people dying. There are people getting shot. People are taking drugs, and you idiots are trying to die in the river."
Okay. We were like, go do those better things. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. Great to see you.
You too. Happy birthday.
I think there's a lot of stories we could tell about our friendship, so that's a good one, though.
For sure. Stargazing.
I thought you were going to share about the rocks, but
I thought about it, but 90 seconds.
Awesome. All right. Providence is up, followed by Anna.
All right. Hey, y'all. Good to see a lot of you. Hi. Yeah, I was thinking about how we met, and I think it definitely speaks to your character of like making somebody feel completely at home. Because we met basically my freshman year at Messiah, and like I would see you around campus and we'd hang out, like just in passing say hi, but like I never felt like because I was a freshman and you were a junior that it was like I'm this upperclassman or whatnot. And then yeah, I don't know, I think we just like at different touch points, like with social media or whatnot, like I've reached out to you, you reached out to me. I remember having like a phone call once where like it was just like this very in-depth conversation where like I was consoling you about something. I can't remember what it was.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
I don't remember what it was, but I think the last time I saw you was when I think you posted on Instagram that you were in DC. And I was like, when are you going to be in DC? I'm going to be there too. And so it was like June of 2018. If I can share. Let's see. Can you see? I know you guys see the picture. It was like outside this hotel that I dropped you off on. And yeah, it was like June, so it was the summer. And I don't feel like I fully remember like a good story from that, but what?
I think we had a good time catching up, and you
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I know like every conversation we've had, like in person and like over the phone, has been like very in depth, and like you tell me, I think you were like talking to people and like meeting up with people you met on Twitter, like in DC, who were just like, you're having conversations with people and like just like doing that. And I just admire your like spontaneity and like going out and just like meeting people, like the world is your oyster. And it like makes me want to do that. And I remember we were texting at one point and I'm into the Enneagram. And so I'm like, I'm a 1. And you're like, I'm a 7. And you're like, I'm a 7, I think. And it's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And I think the last time we were talking, like texting wise, you're like, you should come to Chicago, come meet me, or come see me. And unfortunately that's not going to happen, at least right now. But I just appreciate your zest for life and the way that it encourages me to just kind of just go and try things. And
thank you.
Yeah, and you're just like your willingness to go into all directions in terms of depth of conversation, anything and everything. So I really appreciate that. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go, but
I'm glad you came on the call. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Providence. Anna's up, followed by Charlene, and then Mallory.
Oh, hi guys. Happy birthday, Morgan. So I think, I don't know, I have several funny stories. So I'm actually in the Chicago burbs, so relatively close-ish. And I met Morgan at a mutual friend's surprise engagement party. And we ended up carpooling from the burbs to this party in the city. And we were sitting in the car in the back, and I've never met Morgan before in my life. And we started talking about feminism and women's rights and birth control and sex.
With our mutual guy friend in the front of the seat.
Yeah, with our mutual guy friend that is just sitting there listening. Like, I don't think he actually said, did he say anything?
I don't know.
And then, I mean, the conversation evolved. And I remember at the party, we talked about our mutual love of traveling. And then at the end, I think you were leaving or I was leaving, and we're like, we need each other's contact info, because I think you said to me, anyone that I can talk to about all those things in the first 5 minutes, I need to be friends with. And I absolutely agreed. So that's a fun memory. And I think another memory that makes me laugh is when you ran here from CT and you wiped out in the mud. And you come to my door for dinner and you have mud all over you. You're like, so, which I noticed a theme here that she gives clothes to people to wear. This was the one instance where she was given clothes to wear.
I have lots of people here have given me clothes. Ask Emily. Let's see. Emily has brought me clothes at work multiple times before.
It was so funny. So yeah, those are, and we've been to a couple of concerts, well, one concert, and I have a picture, which I could not figure out the screen sharing thing. So that's not a thing that's happening. Picture from the wedding of the mutual friend that got married. And then when we went to see Marina and the Diamonds not that long ago with my sister, and that was really fun. So yeah, good times.
Thanks, Anna.
Happy birthday, Morgan.
Awesome. Okay, so Charlene, and then Mallory, and then Jason.
Hi.
Charlene.
Hi. I'm also one of the few people who is actually based out of Chicago. And I'm not the closest. I actually just checked because I was curious to see. I think I'm a good 4 miles from you. So it's actually funny with kind of how I know Morgan. It's the official story is I know Morgan based out of Chicago because I about a year ago or so, I heard about this free event for an East Asian American storytelling event that was actually in my neighborhood. It was really close. And I was like, I'm East Asian American and it's in my neighborhood, so I should go. And it's free. And it was a really great decision because it basically snowballed into me joining this storytelling cohort for a couple of times now. And so that was a lot of fun. And so I know a couple of people here. I know Krista, who I also like ran into at that event. And then the other kind of way that I know Morgan is actually through my former roommate, Meredith Kilburn, who spoke here earlier, which I can't believe she didn't mention it, but like, I remember Meredith would be like, yeah, I'm in small group. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And she's like, it's a church thing. I'm like, cool. And then she would say how she would be, you know, hanging out with you. And then I think it didn't click until later when I actually met you that like, she was like, wait, that's the Morgan who I know from church. And so like, I just kind of knew you through a couple of different ways officially. And let me see if I could share what is actually my background. You can see that photo.
Great picture.
Yeah, I know that you really like this photo. And this was actually taken, it's very alarmingly empty. This was actually taken one time when on our field trips for the storytelling group we got to see this like random comedy improv show from like an Asian American like comedy group called like Stir Friday Nights. And it was like on a fucking like Tuesday night. So of course it's like empty. And it was just really fun. And I just remember I was like hanging out in the back and then Morgan and others were like in the front. And it was a lot of fun. And I feel like this is a pretty good example of like our relationship, which I thought was just a lot of fun. But no, I have met many great people through the context of Morgan. It's just always been just a very exuberant, great time. Of course, I think the last time, I think you had your birthday last year, it was also like a storytelling thing.
Mhm.
And we just like went around your living room, which you're sitting on now, and just being like, we're going to share stories. And I'm just like, oh, dear God. Okay. All right. We're going to do this. This is very much on brand. So
thank you for doing it 2 years in a row.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me 2 years in a row. But I think I have to go soon after this, but thank you so much for inviting me and everyone else to share this experience. Happy birthday.
Bye. Love you, Charlene.
Thanks, Charlene. It's Mallory's next, followed by Jason and then Lucas.
Kathleen.
Okay, I was trying to think. Hi, Kenzie. First off, I cannot follow up Mackenzie on her roast. It was good. But I was thinking of like memories I share with Morgan. And I was like thinking so hard. And you know when you think so hard, your mind goes blank? That's how I felt. So then I was trying to think of my favorite memory I had. And it was one time my freshman year of college. And we decided to take a road trip to Toronto. And before that, like, I never thought that Morgan and I were very close. I don't know why I'm shaking so much right now. I haven't talked to anyone today, and I've been spending a lot of days alone, so I'm a bit this time. I'm in Dubai, by the way. So anyway, so Morgan and I, we decided to go to Toronto, and we took like the old car, and we drove up there. And we were like, we're just going to wing it. And so we didn't have any plans, and we didn't have any place we were going to stay. And we thought like, okay, as soon as we arrived to Toronto, we're going to just go on couch surfing and just send out like a bunch of messages. And that was like our only approach. So we got there we got there and we start like messaging everyone. And of course we don't get any responses because I think it's like 9 o'clock at night by the time we reached there, right, Morgan? Something
really
like that.
Far. We stopped at Niagara Falls, remember?
We stopped at Niagara Falls, and then by the time we got there, it was super late. So, so no one's answering our messages. And so Morgan and I were like, well, I guess we just have to find a neighborhood and sit and like sleep in the car because we don't have any other option. So Morgan was like, don't worry, Mallory, like I downloaded some movies. We can watch movies in the back of the car. Like it's no problem, da, da, da. I was like, yeah, okay, this is kind of weird. She's like, I have a blanket. It's not gonna be a big deal. Like we'll be fine. So we pull up into this random neighborhood and it's very dimly lit and it's like very kind of misting. It's I was a bit scared. So we open like the trunk and we're like, okay, we're gonna sleep in, it was like a hatchback, I think. So we're like, okay, we're gonna sleep in the trunk. So we like get it and so Morgan's like, okay, like, oh, I'm gonna pull out the movie. And she fucking pulls out like Mystic River and she's like, yeah, this is a great idea. Let's watch Mystic River. I was like, Morgan, I don't wanna watch a movie about someone being murdered while we're sleeping in a random like street in Toronto. We have no idea where we are. But no, for Morgan, this was like so classic. I think Morgan was scared too. She just was pretending not to be. Anyway, I kind of love our Toronto trip because we did find people to couch live with the next 2 days. Like we stayed with this one guy. What was he, Iranian? Do you remember this one who had the penthouse? There was a guy we stayed at, Turkish guy who had like a penthouse. Then we went like out with him and his friends that night and it was really fun. And then after that we stayed with some like hipster indie guy in his basement. And yeah, it was a good trip. And for me, it kind of marked the time that Morgan and I began to get close because I never felt like we had been very close before. And then a couple of years later, she moved to New York. And I think that our trip to Toronto like kind of solidified us in a lot of ways. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
That's a good story. And also the fact that my favorite part of the story is that when we woke up in the morning, the one thing that you forget that you're going to have to need in the morning is the bathroom.
Oh my God. So Morgan had to go to the bathroom. So I think both of us had to go to the bathroom.
You had to.
Oh my God. But I wanted to just pee outside and you told me I couldn't. So then we were like looking for a Hortons everywhere. Like, where's a Hortons open? Where's a Hortons? And I was like crying. I was like, I have to pee. I have to pee. I have to pee. And yeah, we found a Hortons that let us go to the bathroom. And I don't think we bought bagels after.
I know about the Turkish guy. He lived in a luxury apartment that had no furniture in it. And we went out with him and his grade school friends when one of them launched this fashion line. And we got Chinese food at like 3 a.m.
After we went to bars, do you remember? I was trying to think of what we did during that time and I couldn't remember. I just remember the Chinese food and the penthouse.
And the guy screaming out the pickup truck.
Anyway, guys.
I'm out, Morgan.
Wow. That's crazy.
This out.
Bye, Mac. Thanks for staying around.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can Diana go next? David, she has to leave.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like cutting the line at the bar. I feel badly.
No, you're good.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Diana. I have known Morgan, gosh, I guess since we were 18 at Messiah, met at Messiah College. I have lots of Morgan memories. I feel like Morgan is I always describe her as my most interesting friend. And I think she always will be. I was most impressed with, sure nobody else is watching Tiger King, but when her Christmas card arrived, right as Tiger King was blowing up with her with a tiger, I'm like, of course, Morgan timed this perfectly. But I would say it's not one memory, but my favorite kind of string of memories was Morgan and I studied abroad together in Barcelona. And so 2 things. One was that I don't want to use the word bully, but Morgan would often, come up to me at the end of class and we lived in similar neighborhoods in Spain and inform me that we were walking home. And I don't like to stress myself physically, but she would kind of not let go until we walked. It was like probably like 2 hours home from class as opposed to take the metro, which was like 15 minutes. And then we would not only be walking home, but she would be insisting that we had to stop at the nicest hotels along the way and sneak into them and go up to their roof deck, which was a little anxiety inducing for me.
Diana's like, are you sure they're not, they don't notice us? I'm like, if we're speaking English, we're tourists.
Yeah, she would always say we're speaking English, we're tourists. But looking back on my time in Spain, that is one of my favorite memories, is kind of like, walking all those streets, and then we would hang out and talk, for hours. When you're 19, you have like all the things and all the time to talk about, all the life questions. So that was my favorite memory. And also it meant a lot to me. I looked the most like I was from Spain, and I spoke the language the worst. And so Morgan was very kind and would go to the library with me often and tutor me, which meant a lot to me. So those are my Morgan stories. She has been a good friend.
Diana's family's favorite story of me is that one time I went with them to these beautiful botanic gardens and I fell asleep at the gardens. Her sisters were there, and I guess they've never let me live that down. But that happened.
Morgan can nap anywhere.
Apparently.
Thanks for your birthday, Morgan.
Thanks for staying on.
Yeah.
Thanks, Diana.
Good to see everyone.
All right, Jason, and then Kathleen.
All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Jason. I know Morgan from high school. I'm going to share my screen here because we've taken a few trips together the last couple years. I want to share those memories with Morgan. So, Morgan, can you see my screen?
Yes. Aww.
So this is a photo of Morgan taking a photo when we're biking around Kyoto together. I think the bicycle and Morgan are kind of like hand in hand from what I've known her the last few years. She enjoys biking a lot and just kicks my ass when we're biking around cities, just going uphill, and she doesn't stop and I'm gasping for air. Something I really appreciate about her is that she constantly challenges me mentally and physically when we're exploring the world together and being curious. Another photo, here's her in front of some sort of sightseeing map, and she's always interested in maps, and I appreciate that about her because we take turns in navigating a new city, and sometimes I get tired, and it's important for your travel companion or your partner to help you out when things are overwhelming. Let's see here. This is us at the Estadio de Charles de Jalisco at the World Baseball Classic in 2017. And the people taking this photo are strangers who Morgan invited back to our Airbnb to stay with us.
You whispered to me and you're like, should we do this? Should we let them do it?
Yeah, because the bike ride to get to the stadium from where we were staying was actually pretty difficult, and I think Morgan even admitted that she didn't want to bike back. So we were trying to find a way to get a ride back to where we were staying, and these people had driven from another city, and they had a car, but they didn't have a place to stay. So we enlisted our services in exchange for theirs. This is Morgan watching, I think when Italy walked off against Mexico, and I think it was funny because we were starting to dislike the Mexican fans because of a lot of like misogynistic things that were happening in the stadium and the way they were chanting. So everyone was really quiet, and we were kind of quietly celebrating that Italy had beaten Mexico in their home stadium, which is kind of a funny thing. Even though we're not Italian or Mexican. This is Morgan making friends with a tourist in front of a site in Kyoto, which is classic Morgan, obviously, just making friends and taking selfies with people that she doesn't know. Continue on here.
That people come up to you and take photos with you.
Yeah. This is Morgan and I in front of the Osaka Castle. We biked up here with our tour guide, Ben, who Morgan and I don't know, maybe we can talk about Ben another time, Morgan, but I think this photo is really encompasses kind of like the history of our friendship and relationship, because Osaka and San Francisco are sister cities, and we hail from the Bay Area, and we came across this incredible artwork that was donated to Osaka from San Francisco, and then lo and behold, we're biking around Osaka together. So I thought it was a really cool kind of like all-encompassing circle that connected us together from, our time as teenagers at Moreau in California to biking together as adults in Osaka between the two sister cities. So that's my memories and sharing of Morgan, and happy birthday.
Thanks, Jason. Also, we did bike the last time I was in SF, which was like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Or 6 months ago, I guess. But yeah.
So I'm glad to share it. I'm going to hop off now, but thank you for organizing. And David, thank you for emceeing, and appreciate everyone sharing their stories. Happy birthday.
Awesome. Those pictures were incredible. So Kathleen is up, and then Heather Murphy's going to be after that.
Hi, happy birthday, Morgan. I'm Kathleen, and I met Morgan in college. And I'm going to share a photo of one of the years that we went to a banquet in New York City with the Baseball Writers Association of America. So we did this 2 years in a row, the years after we graduated from college. And it's a banquet where they give out like the Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, and all that. So Morgan was living in New York at the time, at least the first year. And I'm going to share a story about the second year when we stayed over at the hotel where it was at. I believe it was the Hilton in Midtown Manhattan. And the hotel didn't include breakfast or Wi-Fi or anything like that. Nothing extra was included. And late at night after the banquet, Morgan and I were, walking like back to our room in the hotel. And this guy started talking to us, and he was bragging about how he was some kind of hotel executive of the hotel we were staying at. I remember him also bragging about some sort of like gambling, like sports betting that he was doing, like $8,000 for one bet and all this stuff. And he was just super cocky. And I was like, oh, we could definitely take advantage of this and get the free breakfast out of the situation. And so I said, oh, if you're like this hotel executive for this place, our room doesn't include breakfast, so I'm sure you could pull something off. So sure enough, we like follow him to like either his office or room or something, and he gives us like this coupon that was for breakfast the next day. But then the next morning we go to the restaurant in the hotel, we eat like a normal breakfast, and then we get a bill and it's $93 for breakfast for the two of us. And we were like, oh my gosh, like what? First of all, how could any breakfast of what we just ate cost $93? And I thought this little certificate from the guy last night was going to take care of it. So apparently the thing that he gave us was not for that. It was for like a grab and go, like just take one bagel and leave. Not for the restaurant, which we didn't know before eating in the restaurant. So we had to like talk to someone, and Morgan, I can't now remember if we actually ended up having to pay the $93 or did they give in.
No, you said there is no way. Like, Kathleen, the story is more about you than it is me, because you're like, there is no way we are paying for breakfast. You were like adamant. You're like, they can do it. They can cover it. This guy. I can't believe this guy. Anyway, it was really great. You were, yeah.
So we didn't have to pay for $93 breakfast. But both the trips were really fun. The first year we went, we ended up going like back to the room that Morgan was renting in Queens, like late at night. And these banquets were in January, so we were wearing like fancy dresses, and I think we rode on the metro back to the room. And then the second year we splurged and stayed in the hotel together. But it was a super fun adventure that we only got into doing because Morgan tweeted this lady who was like a famous baseball writer in San Francisco, and somehow like found out, I guess from her via Twitter, like how to get tickets for this event.
So. It was so fun. I'm sorry we didn't go this year because now there's not even baseball. There's not even a B1 next year. So clearly it was a bad decision.
That might be true. Eventually we'll go again. So happy birthday, Morgan. And David, thanks so much for organizing this.
Thanks for coming. It's awesome to have you and share the story.
So cool, Kathleen. Heather is up, followed by Squirt.
Oh, hey!
What's up?
I'm so glad so many people have already shared stories that I wanted to share because it made it easier for me to decide what story to share. Obviously, we've got the all-nighter, we've got swamp hopping in Montauk, we've got that night in Harrisburg, City Island, all of the times that I have gotten in trouble with the police for being at a park or a playground past hours with you. That is probably one of my favorite ones of those stories. So I thought I should tell the story of our most recent adventure, which is when I came to visit you in Chicago. And for whatever reason, we decided to go to the Indiana sand dunes. So we went there. I only had sandals, like flip-flops, and Morgan had hiking boots that she wanted to wear in before her trip to Peru, where she was gonna like hike Machu Picchu or whatever. I thought she was crazy for wearing hiking boots to sand dunes, but turns out that was the right decision because they were burning hot, and I only had sandals to wear. And of course, after we go to the visitor center and make friends with the lady who works there, she tells us, like, you have to do the 3 dune challenge. If you do, you get a free sticker. So that's where you hike up and over the 3 biggest dunes at the park. So we did the 3 dune challenge with my feet like burning themselves the entire time. And then at some point during this time, we start developing a YA novel trilogy that we just decide to just talk. We just talk out. We develop all the characters. We come up with the whole plot. And then at the end, turns out it's going to rain, and not even just rain. There's like lightning and thunder coming. So this lady who we made friends with at the visitor center is like, let me drive you back to the train station when my shift is over, because it's not safe. So we hang out at the visitor center and we flesh out our YA novel. Then she gives us a ride back to the train station. Turns out train came and left. We miss our train. There's not a train again for another 3 hours. I'm supposed to like go back to the city to like meet up with other friends for dinner during my trip. So my phone is about to die and Morgan's phone is already dead. So we're trying to figure out like alternatives to get back to the city. Like, could we just like call an Uber? So the whole train station is like closed down for some reason. So we like end up knocking on the window of like the one guy who's like still there working at the office because it's like 5 p.m. and he lets us like charge my phone at his desk for like a few minutes, and then he tells us he'll give us a ride to his town where he lives because there's an airport shuttle that can take us to the Chicago airport, and then from there we can take the train back into the city. So he drives us there. During that time, he tells us that there's also a train from Gary, Indiana, but we shouldn't go there because racism. And so he takes us to his town where we are waiting for this airport shuttle that's even more money. And we've already bought train tickets. So Morgan and I are like, no, we don't want to spend that money. So we keep charging my phone in a Wendy's where more people tell us not to go to Gary, Indiana because racism. But eventually my phone gets charged enough that we're able to call an Uber and take it to the train station in Gary, Indiana, where we get on a train and we're perfectly fine. And we research the history of Gary, Indiana, and why it's in such bad shape and racism. And
the one thing I'll just add is that the Uber that we called said it was like the only Uber, like the only one.
It was the only Uber, and it was a guy who was just sitting at his home waiting to see if anyone would call an Uber in this like random suburban town in Indiana.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you guys called an Uber. I put some pants on and came and got you. Anyway, it's a classic Morgan story in that it involves mishaps during travels and extended periods of walking where you're miserable and she's convinced you to do it. And where you make friends with strangers. So all of the above.
Thank you, Heather. I'm glad.
Oh, I forgot to share my picture. I got to do that first. I got to share a thing. The picture that I want to share is not at all related to this, but I love these pictures of us. They're from Jamie Slagle's wedding, and it just reminds me of all of the great times that you and I have spent.
Those are awesome photos
together. I know, the lighting is so good, and also both of us have bangs, but only one of us is pulling them off. To be honest.
Wow, send those to me. Those are great.
I know, right? They're fun.
Thanks, Heather.
Very cool. Very
Happy
cool.
birthday.
All right, awesome. Squirt is up, and then Krista.
Hello.
What's Squirt?
Hi. Hi, Heather. I'm sad that your sister's left, but
no, Mallory's
here. Oh, yeah, duh. Mallory's here. Well, hi. Whenever I say hi, my dog thinks that there's someone here. This is the only picture I have right now, and that's obviously very recent.
Aww.
My wedding in 2017. There's Heather too, and Mackenzie. I was trying to look. I knew that I had pictures. I couldn't find any. I think they're out
photo bucket.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, I should log into that. But I think that I have some up in the attic. But I was actually trying to look for like a letter from you because we used to write a ton. I used to write Mackenzie too, you, Mallory. I think we even sent a few letters here and there. Oh. Yeah.
Tell people how we met, Squirt.
What?
Tell people how we met.
At camp. Is there a specific story? I was gonna say I need to ask you to tell me some stories because camp was so long ago and it's seriously so hard for me to like think of specific things from that time. It was like, oh my gosh, that was like 15 years ago. It was so long ago.
It's true.
Is there a specific story how we met? Because I feel awful. I can't remember.
No, I just remember, I don't know how many people here have been to summer camp before, but Squirt when she was in 7th grade and I was in 8th grade, and Squirt and her group of friends had tons of crushes on different guys that were around camp, and then codes that they would use when they approached. And I remember one of them was like, if I clap.
No way. Really? Wow, that's dorky. See, yeah, that's really funny. This is why we need to talk more. I need you to remind me of my life back then, because I cannot remember so many things about that time. Oh my gosh. But Morgan definitely reminds me of like the parent that you have when you're young. Well, it's usually like most of our parents where you're like, no, I don't want to ask, you ask, and that's Morgan. Morgan's like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go do it, So she just reminds me of that. And I don't know, you're just always the friendliest person, like everyone keeps on saying on here. I mean, look how many people were even on here at one point. It was like 30 people or something.
David has a list.
How many people, David?
I didn't count it, but it's a lot. It's like 30 something.
Yeah. My husband, like, he looked over at one point and was like, oh my gosh, does she really have like all those friends? Like, or are those just, I'm like, no. Those are all her friends, like for sure,
I'm so glad you came on. It was so fun to have you here.
Yeah, this was cool. I'm sorry that I couldn't get the time right. That was pretty silly of me.
It was long. You were here long enough. Don't worry about that.
But I just wanted to say too, like that picture that I shared, it was just so sweet of you to come to my wedding, and I like I just appreciate it extra now, because if I ever get invited to a wedding that's out of state, can you just take him for 1 second? I just see how difficult it can be. And I mean you made it, Mackenzie made it, Heather, you came. I mean, that was just amazing of you guys to come all the way there. You paid for a plane ticket to come. I'm sure you had to pay for somewhere to stay. I mean, it meant a lot. And honestly, I mean, I probably got 5 minutes to talk with you guys. It was horrible. I don't recommend having 200 people at your wedding. It's overwhelming. And out of everyone there, I definitely wanted to hang out with you guys, and you guys only. I mean, I barely even saw my husband that night. He and I were like, no, we want to see our friends and stuff. That's all we want to do. And it's like, I saw you guys, and I don't know if you remember my reaction. I was like, I didn't even know where to start. I'm like, I just want to be here forever. Can we just leave this wedding? Like, let's just get out of here, So yeah, thanks for coming. And I'm really sorry that I didn't get to hang out with you that
next time. It was great to have you here. Thank you for coming.
I also just want to add on such a Morgan thing. She convinced me that we should save our money and camp that night after your wedding, which is the first time I've ever gone from like wearing heels and a dress to like schlepping it in a tent.
You guys did tell me that.
It was like pretty ridiculous.
Aw, that's cool.
All right. Krista is up, and then V.
Hi, Morgan. Happy birthday.
It's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I feel like everyone had some variation of the same experience with you. So I'm not going to say anything significantly new, but I knew Morgan. So I was moving to Chicago because I had a job offer, and a friend of mine connected us over email. And I was like, Morgan Lee, I know her sister Mackenzie. We definitely both went to Bridges. So I show up in Chicago, and Morgan and I's long walk story was, I think we started in Old Town for some reason.
Or downtown. We might have started downtown.
I think it actually might have been downtown. Like we met after I got off work or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked from downtown up to the Revolution Brewery in Avondale, which I live like down the street from there now. And I remember you explaining to me the Chicago grid system, which I thought was incredible. And I actually really liked, that experience was like really helpful for me as far as like orienting me to the city. So I really have to thank you for that. And as far as like a sports story, Mason reminded me of when the Warriors were playing the Raptors in
last year.
Game 3?
No, it was game 5.
Game 5, okay.
They had like no one on their lineup that they normally do.
Yeah. And I was there with my roommate who's like not a sports person at all. And the whole time we're like, me and Morgan are really negative, and we're just like, yeah, they don't have anyone on there. They don't have anyone with them. They're not playing well, whatever. Like, we're so checked out. And then, and my roommate the whole time is like, stay positive, guys. You never know what can happen. And then they catch up in the end. I honestly don't remember the details of how it happened. And similar Morgan shriek that happened in this bar that is like relatively empty because no one there cares, or they're like Raptors fans. So
it was such a good game.
It was such a good game. Yeah.
We've watched Warriors games over the years. It's been good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I hope you're hanging in there, not having any sports to watch.
It's hard.
I bet. And yeah, have a great
let's hang out.
30th birthday in quarantine, for sure.
Thanks for coming, Krista.
Of course.
Thanks, Krista. Our last two are V and then Steph.
Yay. The best for last.
Hi. Sorry I'm late. I totally misread your text. I thought we were having a whole nother conversation just about Zoom meetings in general. And I was like, she was like, see you tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess she's gonna call me on Zoom tomorrow. Like, I think I missed the birthday part completely.
It's okay. You made it.
I feel unprepared. I think it's not really a specific story, but I feel like a little funny tidbit of our relationship is something that your parents were mad about because I always pick you up from the airport, and they would get mad that like they never got to pick you up from the airport. But it was like a little extra time for us to just talk and hang out, and then like I'd either go to your house or you'd come to my house or whatever. And I think the funniest thing was Morgan was going to a wedding in Hawaii, and I happened to also be on vacation in Hawaii. So I picked her up from the airport. And her parents were like, really? So even in Hawaii, she's going to pick you up from the airport and not us. So I don't have any pictures of our Hawaii trip, though, because they're too old and they're not on this computer. They're like in my hard drive somewhere. But we went to, what was the ranch called?
The Jurassic Park Ranch.
Yeah, the Jurassic Park Ranch, and it was lost. Like the Kahlua Ranch or whatever, where they film all the movies. And then, so that was really fun and really random. and Journey to the Center of the Earth too. So we got to, there was like cut out Vanessa Hudgens. If you don't know, me and Morgan are big Vanessa Hudgens people. We're gonna ignore what she just, her recent drama. We're gonna ignore that. But for pictures, I just wanted to share that Morgan and I have finally, in our million years of friendship, have gone to Disneyland together.
Which is really significant considering that V has spent probably a year combined in terms of days at Disneyland.
Maybe.
Probably.
And now I live like 10 to 15 minutes down the road from Disneyland. So,
yeah, and the best part is that we got it in before quarantine happened.
Yes. Wait, how do I share this? Hold on. Okay, I guess I can't. Should I just share it from my phone?
Sure.
Wait, can you see my desktop right now?
No. Did you hit? David, you want to step in?
Did you press share screen on the Zoom screen?
Yeah, I don't. And then it gave me to all these like things. Okay, well.
Well, pick the window that your photo is in.
I'm just gonna show you on my phone.
That's fine.
Yeah, we finally went on Rise of the Resistance.
Castle.
Yay!
Look at that. It's almost no people.
Almost no, or they were edited out.
Huh?
I said almost no, or they were edited out.
I did not edit them out. There just happened to be no people. And I'm really happy because I got to take Morgan on the new Rise of the Resistance ride, which is epic. So here's us in front of the Millennium Falcon.
It's the best ride ever. When everyone opens, please go.
It's one of the best rides ever.
And I felt like, like when you're like, okay, I'm so glad I went with the expert. V like knew exactly when to log on to get in line to go on this, which was the best.
If you don't know, it's a crapshoot. It's really luck of the draw. If you can go on it or not right now. So, when it was open. And it's really scary. And we were like screaming when we got it. And I was jumping up and down because I was really excited because I really wanted you to experience it. And I know you're not you don't come back to Disneyland very often. So
I felt like it was exactly what needed to happen. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
Thanks, V, and great background, by the way.
Yeah, this is my go-to Zoom background because it's very fitting. I can that was my talking head. Happy birthday.
Thank you, V.
So cool, V. Stephanie, you're last.
Hi, everyone. Morgan, thank you for texting me to be here. I'm literally just doing a puzzle at home, and if you didn't text me, I would not have been able to make it. So thank you.
Texted you 17.
Happy birthday!
Hey.
What'd you say?
It only texted you 17 times, but it's okay.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Don't look at my phone. Anyway, so I thought of a story because I was looking through pictures, and you are on my phone with Zoom, so I think I will just flip the screen to show pictures. But now I don't know how to see my screen. Oh, here. Okay, I thought that was funny because it looks like we're drunk at a party, but it's Messiah, so we're not drunk. This is us at Chicago. I have no idea where. It looks like I just came to visit you. This is the story that I wanted to tell. So I'll flip it back. I visited Morgan. She was like, just come visit me, you're jobless. And I found a round trip from PA to Chicago for $50. I was like, what the heck is this? And I was following her during the week, during her daily activities. And we walked past somewhere in Chicago, I don't have any sense of where we were, a bar that was playing, oh no, I saw a sign that was like, this band is gonna be here, the Borns, I think, and tonight. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. We should come back and see if we could go. So we went to go eat and we came back and it was sold out tickets. And I was like, Morgan, I know on the other side of the street, because it was kind of like a triangle, I don't know, the other side of the bar was also accessible, the back of it. I was like, we should just stand there and wait till someone comes out. And she was like, okay, whatever you want to do. And a security guard came out and was like, I was like, hey,
it's sold out, but can we like come into this concert? He was like, yeah, it's almost over. You can come in, but it's just gonna be like one song. And we go in and we see the entire Borns concert. Like, I don't know what he thought he was talking about, but we definitely saw at least like 8 songs. That was really fun and very like spontaneous Morgan story.
Wow. Well, first of all, this is all you. This story is actually, some people have told stories that are more about them. This was a couple days before Steph saw a sign for the band. She was like, oh, it'd be so nice to go to this Borns concert. They're in town while I'm here. I'm like, do you want to go? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, okay. And then literally she decides then that day of like, oh, we should go. So she goes to talk to the ticket person. And they're like, they're sold out. And so I was like, can't believe it's sold out. I'm like, you could have bought tickets, like 5 days ago when you were here. And then you were like, oh, it'll be fine. We'll just talk to them and come in.
The spirit of Morgan compelled me. I also have other pictures. I don't know what this is, but it looks like you're playing with your cat that was there.
What the heck is that? Wow.
What heck was it?
I didn't recognize that photo.
I don't know anything about it, but there's a cat here and you're like very happy. So I thought, yeah, that's Morgan. This was funny because Morgan has probably visited me everywhere that I've ever lived, which is awesome because I've lived a lot of places. And this was in France. I'm living in France right now. And I was like, we should go on a hike. It's like going to be good weather. But when we get to the top of the mountain, it's freezing and snowing. So, so much like all these other stories. We're like, well, we can go on the hike anyway, even though it is freezing and snowing. We didn't last very long. We had to like drive further down for the like wind to not block us. But I thought that was funny. It's like, it should just be a nice thing. Oh, this is another picture from that hike because it was like supposed to be a nice day, but it actually snowed. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know when or how this happened, but it looks like Kevin and Morgan and I are on a roof. And I probably was like really upset about doing this. Like, we cannot get on a roof. Like, what are you talking about? But it looks like we found our way up there. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like I have more pictures. Sorry. I just keep clicking. Looks like we're eating Rita's ice cream. And oh, this is at Andy's wedding. Andy and John. And I think this sums up our friendship because like you're definitely one of the people who knows me the best. And I love you so much. And I love that you follow me through life.
Thank you, Steph. Man, so amazing. Mallory, you can't wait. You can't leave. We have to sing. We need as many people as possible to sing because they all left.
That's why I'm leaving, Morgan.
What?
That's why I'm leaving.
I don't want to instructions about how to silently sing without embarrassing yourself.
You're the one that embarrasses themselves when they sing.
All right, Morgan, now you can see who your real friends are because we're the ones who stayed till the end.
It's a take a look around.
Take a look around.
Wait, do you like it when people sing you happy birthday?
Dave and I talked about this. I was like, maybe we should sing a different song. And he was like, with 40 people, we all have to sing the same song.
I don't think that's exactly how it went, but something like that.
It is literally like my worst, not literally, but it's one of my worst nightmares for people singing me happy birthday.
I'm fine not singing too.
Up to you, Morgan. You make the decision.
I'll sing with my microphone muted.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Oh, is Jake gonna play? Jake, can you just play it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah, we gotta do this.
All right, Jake, go take it away.
It's gotta turn on first. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Morgan. Happy birthday to you.
Yay!
That was amazing.
Guys, this was an amazing event. I did not feel sad about not having a traditional birthday party because most of you couldn't even have come to it anyway. So now I got to hang out with everyone and hear great stories of how I'm remembered as basically a person who makes people walk or ride bikes. What else do I make people do? Hang out in the rain. Be in danger, is that what you said? Love danger.
Bad weather stories involving you.
You said you have other stories involving me, Jenna?
There's just so many bad weather stories.
I think I think the thing to learn is that most people just stay inside when it's bad weather. But I'm like, let's go outside anyway.
Well, like, even when we thought it was going to be a nice day, like you remember your birthday a year ago, and it was like, it's been beautiful, like 70, and then it snowed.
True story.
Yeah, by the way, so it snowed a year ago today. Today for me, it is 96 degrees outside, so quite a contrast.
It was like, I made the right decision.
I did, but it still feels a little soon. Climate change.
Well, the party is officially over. Everyone can leave if you need to, except Stephanie, since she needs to talk to David, since they haven't talked in a long time. But everyone else is free to hang out and stay here. I just want to let you guys know it was awesome. Jake, you truly created an amazing, that was definitely the best happy birthday that I've seen at a Zoom birthday party.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Wasn't even
Tyler played that actually, so
Yeah, that's a Tyler Benjamin Anderson song.
yeah.
All right.
Wow. Very nice, Tyler.
Guys, give it up to David for hosting a great party.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He made up a giant we had a rehearsal of the party last night where we went over everything.
Who would?
Whoa.
Why am I not? Mallory's face? Literally.
There was a rehearsal so that it would go smoothly. I mean,
And it
we've
was
all
great.
had terrible Zoom birthday parties, and I did not want to have a terrible Zoom birthday party.
No, it was fun. All right, I'm going to stop the recording, though.
Okay, so if you wanted to say something off the record, now is your